What's good, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of our new podcast, the Rambling Red Shirts. I go by the name of Geo the Sage, and today we have a variety of topics to cover, including Comic-Con highlights, gaming news, and aliens. I am joined by the rest of Red Shirts Remastered crew, and how's it going today, fellas?
What's going on, Geo? We got Patrick and Spencer here as well. I'm Chris, guys.
Hey, yo.
Hey, how's it going, Gio?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well as well.
Hello, the Velvet Room Chill. First time chatter.
That's my buddy Will.
I was going to say, I thought I recognized that name.
Yeah.
From somewhere.
Nice.
Well,
Good to see him by.
Yeah.
I've seen him by quite a bit in Sir Gabin's stream. Patrick's streams here, whatever you want to call him. He is a man of many names, but the Gibbon. But yes, good to have you here.
Very good to see you, and anybody else in that chat who hasn't or who's watching, make sure you click that follow button. We are so close to hitting affiliate here on Red Shirts Remastered.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Gio, you're muted.
My bad. Sorry about that, fellas. Anything anybody wants to get into before we start the show? Or are we good here?
I mean, good to be here. The start of what we hope to be something long running and start of a fun journey as we're just, we're still just getting out into and figuring out what we're exactly wanting to do here with this new channel, this joint channel between the four of us. And so we're going to try to be bringing this hopefully weekly podcast to you all around this time, our plan was to start a little sooner. But we'll see how timing goes as far as the future goes. But I'm just excited for this journey as this does start episode 1 of this podcast named Rambling Red Shirts, where we're gonna ramble the fuck on about whatever.
Absolutely. And it's a work in progress, but I think we'll find our footing fairly quickly. It's not going to be a huge ordeal. Let's put it that way. So that being said, looks like we're getting our. Hold on just 1 second here. All right. So I guess we'll start off with a segment we're going to call Pick of the Week. And essentially what we're going to start off with is just the each member of the group will have a pick of their choice of media, essentially just something that you want to recommend. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's brand new, but obviously in a lot of cases it will be something new that's come out. And we'll just give our thoughts on that real quick, and before we jump into news topics and things of that nature. So that being said, I guess we can start off with Chris, if you want to go first, or
No, let someone else go first.
Patrick, Spencer, when do you guys want to go first on your pick?
All right, my pick of the media for this week. My girlfriend introduced me for the very first time to Nightmare Before Christmas. I'd never watched it before.
Oh, okay.
If you guys have not already checked it out, it's definitely worth the watch. I've always loved stop motion animation. It's very near and dear to my heart. I grew up playing a game on PC way back in the 90s that was stop motion claymation. So I've really enjoyed anything that's stop motion based. I love the stuff from, Aardman, your Wallace and Gromit. You got what was it, Chicken Run, which there's a sequel supposedly on the way. I'm really excited about that. That's coming soon. So yeah, this was really cool. I don't know how I managed to go this long without ever seeing Nightmare Before Christmas, because it's like one of those, like, it's almost, I wouldn't say it's a cult classic because it's very widely known, but you only hear it around, like the holidays, like Halloween and Christmas is when people tend to watch it. It's a very seasonal movie. So yeah, like my girlfriend, she's like, "You've never seen Nightmare Before Christmas? What's wrong with you?" So Of course, I just got my Disney Plus back. She says, we're not doing anything else. She says, we're watching this movie. I'm like, all right. And I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Quick little, hour and a half romp. Enjoyed it. Yeah, pretty much it. So yeah, go check it out. It's on Disney Plus, and
Nice.
it's in 4K. It's in 4K. It is stunningly clear now for a 90s film.
Just want to ask real quick. You mentioned a game in the 90s. You mean like Monkey Island, or which game? Do you remember what it was by chance?
It is a cult classic PC game from 1995 called The Neverhood.
Oh, the Neverhood. Yes.
If you
Okay.
have not,
Yeah,
I cannot highly recommend you. That is literally, it's not story heavy. It's a very fast game, but for me personally, it is my number one game of all time.
Yeah,
Because the story beats are fantastic. For a 1995 game, they used a little old, I think it was either a Nikon or a Canon camera, and they literally had to shoot segments on rails. And what they did is they built the entire world out of clay, and they built it on top of pieces of wood. And as they would go along, they would pull up sections of the world as they were moving it, and they had a track system. And this was literally first person stuff way back in the 90s. They just moved the camera through, taking snapshots everywhere through the world. So as you click in the game, it's very much like Myst, how it's all like, an empty world.
yeah.
And it just wanders through, but you feel like you're like seeing this with your own vision. And for a 90s PC game, it is trippy. And one of the best soundtracks of all time. You just gotta go on YouTube, and you don't have to play the game. Just listen to the soundtrack. Chris, if you're high, that is a great soundtrack.
Jesus. Geo gets high too. You can say that to Geo too.
Geo too, yeah.
There you go. Geo's more of a music guy too. Anyway, apparently we have a captain on the deck.
Captain
Yes.
on deck.
Captain
Black
on the
Ninja.
deck.
Shout out to Black Ninja.
Black Ninja, captain on the deck.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got,
Yeah, Dark
Velvet
Vader.
Room Show we already mentioned. Our good buddy Alex, good to see you as always.
Hey Alex, what's up?
Yeah, we got Black Ninja. We got Darklighter 580. Welcome back. That's my nickname at my workplace.
Captain.
That's what's up. That's what's up, bro.
Captain. There you go.
Yeah,
guess that means
Darklighter,
we're doing
another one
something
of my
right.
buddies.
Oh, nice.
My buddy
Very nice.
Andrew. Yeah.
Big shout out. Big shout out to everybody that's coming through on this very first episode. We greatly appreciate it.
A fellow podcaster too.
Oh, nice.
Yep, he's over there on.
nice.
If you guys want to go check it out, he does. What is it? Science Fictionary is his main podcast. Go give it a listen. It's a good listen if you want to. If you just want to vibe out and just kind of chill. It's kind of like our podcast.
Nice.
Very nice.
So yeah, thanks for everybody who's here, and I guess we'll go back to our picks there. So we'll move on to Spencer next, I believe.
My pick of the week has been what everybody, or about everybody's been raving about since it released Thursday, and I just rewatched it today, and that is the near masterpiece movie, honestly, of Oppenheimer that has released. I don't know. I feel like just by talking about it, I'd like oversell it, but it's really such a great, fantastic movie that I just enjoyed a bit more, honestly, on my second time watching it, because I was able to, the first time watching it, as somebody that, for me, who's not a big history buff, but I just know general stuff, it was a lot to take in for a first viewing. But since then, I did some research and looking up some other parts that I just wanted more context on. So I knew more of the overall story and what happened in the history. And so this rewatch that I had today of it was just such a fantastic time, and just a fantastic story. Nolan's such an amazing director, and I think this is probably my second favorite Nolan movie. And that cast too is amazing. Cillian Murphy absolutely does an amazing job playing as Oppenheimer, and what a great supporting cast. I mean, seeing Robert Downey Jr. in such a different light as that main what's his name, Louis Strauss. He plays such a great different character, because everybody's used to him being Iron Man. But he's just so completely different. So anyway, I could go on a lot about it, but that's definitely my pick of the week. Such a great movie.
Yeah, I've definitely been looking forward to seeing that. I'm a big fan of Nolan's films himself, or myself, sorry. So I can't wait to watch that. Um, let's see. I just want to mention real quick. Black Ninja mentions in the chat. Is this a private party? Well, not technically, but the the price of admission is one follow. So if you could hit that follow button, if you're not already, anybody who's watching who hasn't hit the follow button, we're one away from our goal. So we would greatly appreciate that if you're enjoying the content or you want to. Oh, there we go, Black Ninja. That's what's up, brother. Appreciate that.
There we go. There's that 50.
That's
that
what it's
we
all
needed.
about.
And we did it.
What it's all about. We did
Congratulations.
Woo!
Thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed. That's our first follower goal reached in a great amount of time. So that's I can't express my enthusiasm in words.
Yeah, you know what it means? It means that we just need to stream for a couple more days, like different days, and we can apply for affiliate, guys. So
that's excellent.
Woo!
Thank you so much, guys.
Keep it up.
We appreciate that so much. You were the defining follow.
Yeah, absolutely, Black Ninja. Yes, definitely.
So
thank you, Ninja.
You could take that to the bank. I think that.
But now that you have followed, make sure that you do share our adventures. You know, so.
And we're going to try to. We're going to try to keep the podcast in the same time slot every week if we can manage to do that. Yep. And then our other shows, like our gaming shows, we're going to try to have a set schedule for that as well. But they may be a bit more loose depending on what we decide. But
correct, yeah.
The tentative date for that was on Saturdays, but we'll see how it goes as time goes on.
Yep, and there'll be impromptu streams here and there when people feel like doing things, solo streams. Like Patrick's done a solo stream. Geo, Spencer, and I have done something without Patrick when Patrick was working. You know, so everybody's got their things that they want to do besides just the group thing. So that's the great thing.
The more solo streams, the merrier.
Absolutely.
Hell, do dual stream.
Well, that's the beauty. Yeah, that's the beauty of having the four of us is that we can have more content that way. We can have more time, more availability, just different things we can do. So it ideally it should help us out and help us to make a better channel for people to enjoy watching. So yeah. That being said, I think it's we got to go to Chris for his pick.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up Monkey Island because I have been playing Return to Monkey Island, new Monkey Island game, and I'm going to make that my pick of the week right now because it's one of those games where if you've ever played the old ones, then it definitely is just like jumping into Monkey Island because it's all the same characters and islands, and I'm already on chapter 4 of I believe 5 or 6, so. I'm almost done the game and I only have started it like a week and a half ago. So definitely my pick of the week. It's definitely classic Monkey Island. I find myself still laughing at the jokes, at the ridiculousness of it, and wanting to go back and keep playing more. So that is my pick of the week. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's another classic, and that's one of those games where the age doesn't diminish its greatness, right?
Yep,
it still has, when you have a game that has good writing and good comedy to it and stuff like that, it's something you can enjoy 30 years down the road, and I think we'll continue to see that. That's going to continue to stay a cult classic as time goes on.
Yeah, which is great that there is now. It's kind of funny the way they do this one without spoiling anything. It's kind of like a little bit of a family affair and storytelling. So it's gonna be a game that, just like the original, you'll be able to play whenever. I'm imagining Monkey Island games being redone in crazy whatever our technology is 30 years, 40, 50 years from now, as well.
All right, now just give me one moment here. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check something
before I
get into my pick here. Just wanted to get some information.
What were you checking? Let's hear it. Why were you checking about your pick?
So just because, well, so first off, my pick is the Futurama season 11, which has just started. So if you guys don't know, Futurama, which is, like I just said, it's on its 11th season now. They picked it back up. It was canceled. It's been canceled several times. And the first episode of the new season just dropped. So if you aren't familiar with the show at this point, it's by Simpsons creator Matt Groening, and it's basically a if you really wanted to boil it down to like the most basic, you could say it's like a Simpsons in space kind of thing, but it's deeper than that. It's got its own great cast of characters and unique situations that kind of lend itself to that futuristic setting. When I heard that they were bringing it back for another season, was kind of skeptical. I'm not going to lie, because a lot of times they'll take a property and just bring it back for the sake of bringing it back with no direction, and they'll be like, okay, let's just do it for the sake of doing it. You know, we have these characters, let's just bring it back just for something to have on our streaming service. So I really didn't know what to expect going into it. And granted, it's only the first episode. There's still the entire rest of the season to go. But I think if the first episode is any indication, then they've nailed it. They've totally brought back the heart of the show. The first episode totally fits the feeling of the older seasons. I didn't feel anything was like shoehorned in too much. I mean, I guess the theme of the first episode is streaming services, but that's kind of what has been great about Futurama is you're able to take a modern something that's happening in current day and apply it to the year 3000. So that's what they've always done, and they continue to do that with the first episode. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. They kept the typical bits you'd expect from Futurama. You know, the Bender stuff, the Fry being Fry. None of the characters felt out of place or anything. It just felt like it was just continuation of the show as if it had never left. So I was quite happy with the first episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. There was something else I was going to bring up as well, but I can't.
Well,
remember.
We were gonna go right into Futurama and into that show, because I watched the episode too, and it's really really good, really good. Like you said, it felt like we never left essentially. It's funny. I went back and watched the finale before I went and watched the new one, or the last finale before I watched the new one, so I could make sure. And it literally picked up right at the end of the last
literally
one. Literally they wrote it so it's a perfect sequel. So fantastic writing. Made me, again, just like with Monkey Island, made me chuckle like they were the old jokes and but mixed in with modern Easter egg humor. So definitely a well done episode.
I do have a question about this new episode. Sure. So do you think this could be a good jumping on place for somebody to just start watching right away? I mean, given the take that somebody has seen some Futurama before, but could they just jump right in at this point?
Yeah, if you've seen some Futurama, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I'm asking that kind of like for myself, right?
I would say watch the finale and that, like, season 10's last episode.
Okay.
And then watch the first. That's all what I would say, do.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I mean, at least for me personally, right? Like, I've seen a bit of season 1 and I really enjoyed it, right? And I'd absolutely like to go through, but there's always that enjoyment of keeping up with the new show, right?
Absolutely.
And so,
for sure.
And so, and especially with Secret Invasion over now, right? And so, so just having something else to look forward to every week. And so,
yeah, and Darklighter
cool.
agrees. Futurama has always been the kind of show you can just pick up pretty much anywhere, but he agrees.
Awesome.
Watch the season 10 finale first. Absolutely.
Okay.
Like watch that one, and it'll pretty much explain everything going into the next one.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, I would
Cool,
say
cool.
even if you haven't, like, even if you've never watched an episode of it, you could watch the new season and still enjoy it. The only thing is at the beginning they like we said they picks off literally where the last season ended. So it's just the first minute they just quickly explain away what they've been doing for the past few years since the show's been gone, and they have to put that into terms of writing into the show. But even if you had no idea who these characters are, you could still get some enjoyment from it. Just you're going to get more if you've seen literally anything prior.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have watched, like we said, this is the 11th season, so it's like if you haven't watched every episode, it's fine. You'll be okay. You don't need to need to binge the entire series to enjoy this.
Yeah, Patrick, have you watched the new episode yet?
No, I haven't touched Futurama in years.
Well, there hasn't been Futurama
I was always
in years.
No, I'm just saying I've been a casual watcher of it like way back, but I literally haven't touched the series in years. It just hasn't interested me at all. So
okay,
yeah, like even with me, I haven't kept up on all of the later seasons. Like even when I read it, it's like this is the 11th season. It was like, oh wow, really? Like I hadn't even remembered that there were that many.
I kept up with Futurama, watched the finale back then and everything. So for me, this is like very nostalgic and very like bring back my late teen years to my early 20s for sure. And Alex is asking, is it better than the current bad Simpsons stuff?
By a mile.
I wouldn't call all the current Simpsons stuff bad, but is it better than the current Simpsons stuff in general? Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, same writers though. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's Matt Groening, it's the same writer, it's the same creator.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean that the writers' room has all the same people. But I see what you're saying. If it's the same team involved,
could be different.
But I think that's what the setting of Futurama lends.
That's exactly it. Yes,
just a different style of comedy, different things you can talk about that make it more interesting than current Simpsons, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so if you want to watch the first episode, you can do so on Hulu. And then the next episode is next. They're doing it weekly. They are doing it weekly, and they're showing there's going to be 3 episodes. However, in the episode, they hint at how many episodes there are going to be. But I'm not going to spoil that because it's a really funny kind of meta moment at the end of the episode. Gee, I don't know if you remember that.
I can't remember exactly, but yeah,
it's at the hearing with the president.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one of the great things that they do is the meta humor, where meta humor can be, depending on how you do it, can be very hit or miss. But that's been, I feel, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's always been a part of their DNA, is doing that kind of meta humor. And it's like judging things from the current era in that lens of how would they feel about this 1,000 years from now, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, so Futurama, check it out. Even watch the old seasons; they're all on Hulu. Or find other ways to watch it. We won't endorse it though. But moving on, right, Gio?
Yes, I think we've gone as far as we can with that. Now, speaking of Futurama, there is another little bit of information. I believe this is in. I don't have the article in front of me.
It's more here. Here's the actual article. Yeah, I forgot that.
Oh, okay, you have it up on the stream. Yeah, perfect.
On the stream.
So yeah, as you can see there, they've had a tie-in for Fortnite for Futurama. So it looks like you're going to be able to. I don't know if this is live already. If
it is, as it says, Spencer. Yeah, Spencer can talk on this. Definitely.
Yeah. So this just came out today. We all know how big Fortnite's become with all its different crossovers, and Futurama is the newest one of these, to where they have to where you can now buy skins to 3 of the different characters. You said the main character, Fry, Bender, and then what's the lady's name with the one eye?
Leela.
That person. You could be Leela.
Yeah. And then there's
there's the.
Anyway, I'm gonna keep Bender up because that's the best character.
Yes, Bender is easily the best character, and they also added like a Bender like ray gun as like an item that you could use in the game as well. So that's around for at least a couple weeks.
Nice.
Maybe.
I like that gold bender. That looks cool.
Right, it looks pretty nice. And so yeah, I mean, it's just the newest of Fortnite's collabs. Fortnite only gets bigger.
Yeah, Velvet Room Chill says everything will be Fortnite one day.
Absolutely. This will make me spend money in Fortnite. And I don't ask Spencer. Me spending money in Fortnite is unheard of.
I was about to say, talk about somebody that like says that like Fortnite just isn't his jam, and then this happens.
And then this happens. There's the ray gun right there. And
well,
and then this is other stuff. But yeah,
this is how Chris is gonna fund that brand new Epic campus in Cary, North Carolina.
I mean, the whole pack's only like $30, so it's not like, it's not like it's absorbently expensive. But I know it's on like quote sale right now, so I need to grab it before, like in the first week. Otherwise, I know it probably won't be on sale.
Well, and they always limit. Oh, sorry, Spencer.
I was just going to say they're typically around for a week, ish. Usually, whenever they're first around. Anytime after, it's who knows how long.
Yeah, they definitely limit the availability of these kind of skins, and I have my thoughts on that. Like, I don't really agree with Fortnite's business model and a lot of the way they do things. But that being said, these are definitely the type of skins that I would be interested in. Like the last time I bought something was Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah, with Rick. Yeah,
I loved using the evil Rick.
Yeah,
because it's Fortnite. I feel like is a game that you don't take too seriously, and so it really helps to have a wacky character that you can play as. So that I think Bender would be a great example of that.
That's exactly why I would. But I would buy the whole pack because that way it wouldn't just I could like switch. And I don't know why. What is the accessory? Because Hypnotoad it's a backpack. So Hypnotoad you wear on your back as well. You can wear Hypnotoad on your back. And that's the thing. I would love to mix like Bender. I would get it all so I could do like Bender with Nibbler and the Nutcracker or something like, you know what I mean? Or Fry with the violin and the little baby robot that what I really would like though as a skin is there's the devil robot that they have.
Is he?
No.
Oh, he's not a skin.
No, he's not a skin. But that would be one that I would want. That'd be the only other one.
The robot devil would be great.
Yeah. Besides maybe Zoidberg, but they do give you the Zoidberg scuttle for a dance and the Planet Express ship as a glider.
Nice.
So yeah. And it's all like about $30 for all of it right now. So I'll probably do it. And maybe we'll play some Fortnite. We've talked about a way
Fortnite coming soon
for us to have all four of our feeds on the screen at one time for you guys to be able to watch. So, yeah. So that, man, I'm actually interested because the new PC setup with the graphics in Fortnite and the Unreal Engine 5 integration they did. I'm excited to see how sharp actually Bender is going to look in Fortnite. It's going to be really cool. Because it might look better than it does in the actual show. I'm going to say here.
Definitely looking forward to some epic Bender versus Rick battles.
Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of cartoons and animated series, this is just I think we've beat this one up. Anybody have anything else they want to say on Fortnite, and Futurama?
No.
Anything new in Fortnite is good for Epic game, not just for Epic, but for the players. It's one of the few games that does this amount of crossovers, and you get to keep the skins. You can play them as much as you want. That's what's fantastic about it. You could hop in Fortnite 2 years from now and still play as Bender if you want to play as Bender. So
Yeah, that's a good
It's all
point. And
good.
it's such a
All
fun.
good.
Fortnite's really, I feel like, turned into a fun sandbox with all these crossovers, and they have so much come back to the item shop time and time again. So as long as it's usually not part of a battle pass, the majority of them come back to the shop every now and then. And so it's cool that everything Fortnite has and makes it a fun experience. Absolutely.
All right.
Plus, I'm sure Spencer is tired of seeing Little Whip in the shop over and over again.
And
Tell me
what's
I'm
up,
not-
Chia? We're just gonna move along. Moving
along to the next topic, which is something that Spencer can start the conversation on. I feel like.
Yeah.
'Cause- and I'm gonna take the
I'm a big
puppy out.
Yeah, so I'm a big kart racer fan, and so there's a new kart racer that just got announced yesterday. A kart racer all themed on DreamWorks characters, and so yeah, we have a whole new lineup of characters here with in this game with Shrek, Puss in Boots, what's his name, Poe from Kung Fu Panda. We have what's that main character's name from How to Train Your Dragon? I don't remember his
Oh,
name.
I just watched this. Oh
Dragon
my God.
Trainer boy.
Hiccup.
Dragon Trainer boy.
Anyway, he's in the game. He's
His
in the
name
game.
is Hiccup.
Is it really?
Hiccup, yes. Yeah. And so
Now,
and so lots of fun stuff from the world of DreamWorks. I don't think they have a trailer out. They've just
The announcement, as far as I've seen.
it's just a lot of screenshots, it looks like. They've done a bit of screenshots. It looks graphically good, I'd say. One of the screenshots shows 4-player co-op, so that or 4-player split screen, so that's good to see. It looks like it's kind of taken like notes from Mario Kart to where you can change what kind of wheels and cars you want and all that. That's interesting. One of the characters here is the wolf character from that new Bad Guys movie that came out.
oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Everybody. They mention trolls. They mention, I think that's a boss baby in the back there. So
Oh, God.
That's great.
So this is interesting. What was the last big kart racer that was out? Because I know I think you guys have played it, if I'm not
Disney
mistaken.
Speedstorm, right?
Yeah, Disney
Oh,
Speedstorm.
Disney Speedstorm. Interesting that you bring that up
Yeah.
because
Oh, I think we
just
lost you.
bring that up
Lose
because
Spencer? I think we're losing
that's,
Spencer.
What, a few months ago?
Yes.
Oh, Spencer, you're back.
Are you losing me?
no, you're good.
Yeah, your connection was popping, but you're good. now.
Sorry. I think I was on a slight delay.
Okay,
for a
so
moment.
you were
Yeah.
saying something
Okay.
about a few months ago?
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so a few months ago, Disney Speedstorm had their Founder Packs release, so where you could buy the game, which is meant to be a free-to-play game, but you can buy the early access now, and you get access to like a head start, essentially, like how these free-to-play like games do. And me and Chris both bought it. We've had a bit of fun with it for what we've played. Definitely something we want to play more of. However, it is going free-to-play at the end of September, I believe. And so sometime in September, I know. I think it's the end of September is when it's going free to play. And so everybody will be able to play it then. But yeah, that was the most recent kart racer, which was solid. But
Yeah, and it seems
free to
like with
play.
a few companies are kind of jumping on the bandwagon and trying to realizing they have a cast of characters they can put around a game like that and seeing if they can kind of jump into that market. So that's interesting to see. But it's like what even like Velvet Room Chill mentioned, where he's like his DreamWorks finally embracing the Shrek memes, and it's like I think you're absolutely right, because you even saw what was the game where they added Warner Brothers added like Big Chungus to the game,
Multiversus.
Right? So,
Multiverses,
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up those kind of
Yeah.
games. Besides kart racers, are the other ones that everyone's jumping on.
Yeah. So there's a few. There's a few different.
And don't
of those.
forget, Shrek is coming back. From what we're hearing from the Hollywood press, is they're working on a deal right now for.
Well,
Shrek
not right
5.
now with the writer's strike.
Not with the writer's strike, but
And
before
the
writer's
actor's strike.
The actor's strike too. But yeah, it was Shrek 5 is supposedly in development, but that's halted. There's a Donkey movie in development, that's halted. So yeah,
Everything's
DreamWorks is
halted.
doing
Spencer
just fine
enjoyed
right now.
the Puss in Boots movie.
Yeah,
Oh, that new one's great.
without Puss in Boots, none of this other stuff would be coming.
No, I heard
Yeah.
that latest Puss in Boots movie was actually really good.
That's what I've heard too. I mean, it's Antonio Banderas, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of those animated ones where it's like, they didn't really try.
But no, that's the thing. Like the actors for these characters, like always, these characters like Shrek, Puss in Boots. Here, there's should have Donkey down here. Where is he?
Donkey.
Right there, Donkey. These actors
Nice.
are genuine about these characters. Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz with Fiona, Mike Myers with Shrek, Antonio Banderas with all those actors. They loved playing those characters. That's why they did so many movies. And I think they've been trying to get a new one done for a long time, and it's just a matter of actors wanting to or having the time really to do it. I think.
Or is it the money?
And it could also be the money as well. There wasn't enough
Like,
money
all right,
in it
tell
until
me,
now.
tell me.
But now, like you said, because Puss in Boots has been successful, that I love how there's Mastermind in the background there too. I didn't see that.
Nice.
That thanks to this guy down here, Mr. Puss in Boots. Let's zoom in on him as much as we can. That we're getting these new movies for sure. And Kung Fu Panda, aren't we getting a new one of those or something? Like,
Well, that wouldn't surprise me either.
I haven't heard anything in a while.
We are.
It's kinda
We
quiet.
are. We're getting a new one of those.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
getting a new one of those as well. So, DreamWorks is on fire still. I don't. What have they done recently that's been bad?
Well, no. Their last one they just released was an absolute flop
What was it again?
in the box office, at least. The Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a kids movie. That like more so than like these other ones. Because like
They're all
Shrek,
kids movies,
look,
come on.
Shrek. Hell no. The amount
Shrek
of
is
adult
crass.
jokes
That's a
in
family
Shrek
movie.
it's not a kids movie at
It is.
all.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it
They
is.
Well, that's
literally
where-
named their bad guy Farquaad.
Yeah, man.
That's where
not,
they-
you may have loved it as a kid because you didn't understand the jokes, but it is not a kids
Right,
movie.
but it's still a kids movie.
No, it's a
No, there's a lot of
family.
dirty
It's a
stuff
movie
in
for
there.
all ages, sure, but the jokes were written with adults in mind.
That was that era
100%.
where they started. I don't know if they started, but they definitely pioneered like blurring the lines where you could have an adult audience that could enjoy the movie at the same time as the kids for different reasons, right?
Yeah, 99.
The kids will
right?
like just
That
the
came
cute little
out?
characters, something like that,
Yeah.
and
Wait, which
then
one?
you
First
put
one?
those
Correct,
adult
yeah.
jokes in.
It's 2001.
No, because I was no way.
Well, regardless, it was around that time.
Yeah, look it up, social media guy.
Yeah, 2001.
Damn it!
I was
No
say, I
way.
was like, I'm pretty sure it was after the millennium.
Same year as chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Oh,
That's
boy.
a little deep cut from the last show we did. No,
Yeah.
anyway. But where were we?
Keep rolling.
Right.
So,
But we
yeah.
don't have a release date for this game either.
Yeah,
It's just coming 2023.
we don't know.
Was just
Launch
announced.
in
$40
2023.
game.
Yep.
So
I'm
this
thinking
year,
it's going
okay.
to be Christmas, or either that, or it's going to be a tentative maybe. Like they're going to delay.
It'll
it
get
into the
delayed.
first quarter.
It'll get delayed.
The fact there's no date and it's already July, it's kind of like,
Well, we still have Gamescom coming in August.
they might be saving that date for Gamescom.
That's what I'm saying. We might
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's
So
also important to keep in mind that the company making this is Game Mill, which does a lot of these games like this,
Mhm.
as far as IP made games, and so who knows how
Let
much
me
you're
see, are they
taking from
going to
other stuff.
Gamescom? Let me look.
I don't know. Probably.
Probably.
I'd be
If not,
surprised
they're
if they
probably part of some
weren't.
small like showcase part of it, like an indie showcase or something like that. But this wouldn't be in the showcase. I feel like. Black Ninja says, took a shower. What did I miss? Anybody want to fill Black Ninja in?
We're here. We're square. We're
Where-
gamers.
Oh, you
Yeah.
missed
Okay.
you missed everything. So what you should do is definitely after we're done tonight, just go back and rewatch it all.
you missed the streaking. We went streaking.
We were also giving out We were giving out various packages of $1 million each.
Oh God.
Oh dear.
Oh Jesus!
Wow. So that waxing from the charity stream definitely is has run its course.
Correct. Absolutely.
As we
So
can
can
see.
you guys get us to $5,000 again? That'd be great.
Oh man,
Anyway.
yeah, you guys will do a way better job at hosting a waxing stream than Kev ever did.
Hey, don't forget, I only live like 4 hours from Chris, so maybe I'll get to do the waxing next
Oh
time.
God, no. Yeah, even Alex said waxing is gone, and Blackner says, "No, I missed the streaking."
Maybe that'll be like the one of the next follower goals or something like that.
Oh, I have to go streaking. Oh, great! Recorded streaking. We'll blur it out. And we'll put the video up on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, why don't we take a nice little break and promote some things? What do we have on YouTube there? Here, we'll let the social media guy promote the YouTube stuff.
Well, we have the Barbenheimer review from our very own Spencer. Spencer, tell us, how was Barbenheimer?
How was Barbenheimer? Well, you can just go quickly watch that 60-second short, or not even 60. Well, yeah, no,
Yeah, it was
exactly
60
at 60
seconds.
seconds,
It
isn't
was
it?
60
Anyway,
seconds.
but no, that's right, because you added something at the end.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I did a very quick review on Barbenheimer, as I did go Thursday to watch both Barbie and Oppenheimer. And so, but yeah, I guess just to quickly sum that up, Barbie was a solid movie, and as you heard earlier, Oppenheimer was freaking amazing. Go watch it.
His pick of the week, folks. Spencer's
also-
pick of the week.
We posted our first 2 videos over there on the channel. We have, of course, didn't start as family friendly. You guys don't know that.
Shh, just promote the videos.
But now we have family friendly content. We have 2 reviews. Our first one was for Pitch Perfect, which I think that one was a lot of fun for all of us. I think we really enjoyed ourselves. And then we got into Encanto. So if you guys want to go check both of those family friendly reviews, those are up on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/redshirtsremastered.
At Red Shirts Remastered.
At
We have to get to
Red Shirts
100
You gotta put
subscribers on YouTube to be able to get
Yes.
the slash, just the name. But
yeah.
these reviews,
there.
the reason we have family friendly, because you're like, you guys do family friendly? What? These were done for
What?
charity, for kids, that from the February charity stream from the Green Fellas. So carried it over to Red Shirts Remastered and fulfilled some promises, which we have more to come. Thank you, Spencer. Look at Spencer doing the social media guy's job.
Are you dropping those in the chat?
He did. He put
Yeah.
our YouTube channel in the chat. You
Oh,
can
yeah,
also go
I've
to
been
our
live-
link tree
I've been
down
live tweeting.
here
Live tweet.
at which way is it? That way. That way.
somewhere down there.
That way
Somewhere
in
down
the
there.
corner down there. All the way. There's a QR code for it, or the URL right there, and you can go check out our link tree. There's also little icons
that's-
underneath our Twitch stream, and one of them is for Linktree, I believe, or it's at the top. I don't remember where it is exactly. I think it's underneath the stream, and when we're not streaming, it's up top. Anyway, what are we moving on to now? What was our next?
So next thing we had a little bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh
news.
yeah! Oh yeah! Bazam!
Teenage Mutant.
Cowabunga, dude.
Win the world's
Bazam!
first scented Xbox controllers.
So yeah, I'm very confused.
And
about this.
Xboxes. So they actually made the controllers. There's the controllers. Where's the actual Xbox? Do they have? Okay, so it's just controllers. I feel like
Just
this
the
article is
controllers.
a little misleading
Just the
Bec-
controllers.
because it says first ever pizza scented Xbox and TMNT Mutant Mayhem controller. I see. So they're just saying Xbox and TMNT Mutant Mayhem linking together controllers. So yes. So it's the controllers are pizza scented. Now continue. Now we understand.
Yeah, which I find interesting because it's like I'm sure a lot of people already have pizza scented controllers. without.
Hold on, I gotta go dig mine out right now. Hold on. Damn it, I can't find it. Imagine that.
I'm gonna say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, the design is a little interesting with the pizza slice of pizza sticking out of the back.
I think that's what smells like the. So if you see how in the pepperoni there's a little hole, I think there's like those like scratch and sniff pads that's already scratched.
Yes.
And then once it fades, you don't have pizza scented controller anymore. However, I really do like the style of the art on the controllers. I'm not gonna lie. I really like the ooze and the name, the graffiti names and everything. I am digging that. The pizza, yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is that this is in promotion of the new Mutant Mayhem. Now, I don't know if they have really a tie-in game for that to match it to.
No, but what they're doing with Cowabunga Collection is they're adding skins, right, Spencer? Was that it?
Oh,
okay. No, Shredder's Revenge, they were doing that. They were doing skins.
Now, were they Mutant Mayhem, though? Because I thought they were for one of the other shows.
They were doing, for a bunch of different, the 90s movies, the 80s, 90s show, and Mutant Mayhem, and the recent shows as well, right, Spencer?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what was involved, but it is for Shredder's Revenge.
Okay. I only saw from the newer show skins from that, so I wasn't aware that they were doing more. But that's cool.
Yeah, and actually, Black Ninja makes a great point. He says it could be wax, like some sort of wax. He said was, and then he corrected himself. Well, I'm not going to show that too. Like Sensi. So. That's exactly right. Could be, yeah. So that means it'll last a while, especially because if wax like Sensi, then when the controller turns on, it heats up and then it creates the smell. Hopefully, wax doesn't pour out of drip through it and stuff. If that's what it is, there's all kinds of weird. I want to know, okay. When Seth Rogen, let's go to us big again. When Seth Rogen came up with this movie. And I think all three of you have heard my picturing Seth Rogen coming up with this movie while he's smoking weed. Hold on, got it. Excuse me. Hey, what if April O'Neil was black and don't and the and so I imagine the same thing with these controllers. I do.
I'd be curious to see if he had any input on the decision.
Well, even if he didn't, I imagine the people that did come up with it having the same process. Just it's out there.
You think they did the same voice too?
No, no. Come on. I mean, maybe they were like, let's think like Seth Rogen. Let's think like they got super stoned and started talking like him, and then that's how they came. Yeah, maybe that's right, Patrick. Absolutely, I like it. That's exactly how it happened. So they got super stoned and said, let's think like Seth Rogen, and came up with these controllers right here. Look at these things. These things are nuts. Although, which one do you like the best? I have to say, all right, each one of us gets one because. So I say, let's let the young one choose first. Young one.
Okay. The good one.
Which one's the good one?
The one that has purple on it.
All right, Donatello. Okay, so Spencer's done fitting. Okay. We'll let the Music Man go next.
So yeah, my first pick is usually when anything Ninja Turtles, it's either Raphael or Donatello. And being that Spencer picked Donatello, that makes it easy for me to go with Raph.
All right, Patrick.
I will forever be Team Leonardo, or as they're calling him in this movie, Nardo.
And I'm always Team Mikey, so that works out perfectly.
Wow,
Cowabunga, dude.
I can't believe that actually worked without any
It
kind
did.
of.
That's funny. So now, though, we know who we are when we're Ninja Turtles.
Because if you guys were ever into Ninja Turtles as kids,
Yeah.
there's always a fight about who's going to be which
I
Ninja
was
Turtle.
Mikey one year for Halloween. For sure.
Did you have the shell?
My mom made it.
Sorry for you.
My mom made it.
Dude.
Yeah. I had like aluminum foil and cardboard and shit and then spray. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, I had a Ninja Turtles costume my mom made as well to go see the 1993 movie.
Hell yeah.
It was I
Go
think it was
Ninja.
93.
Was that the second one then?
No, the third one. Ninja
the
Turtles
third one.
3,
Ohio Wasabi.
What was
Goodbye
it called?
Mustard.
I want to say Turtles in Time, but Turtles in Time.
It is Turtles in Time. It's not Turtles in Time, but yes, it was basically a Turtles in Time kind of movie because they went back in time.
Yeah,
correct. It's
so,
great. That's one of my favorites. My favorite is the third. I don't know, man. They're all good. All three of them are good. Great movies, cult classics. Go see all three original '90s Ninja Turtle movies for sure.
Absolutely.
Tokyo and Razor, Super Shredder, Vanilla Ice. What more do you need?
I could talk about that first one for hours, which I won't. But that's
the first one is actually my least favorite. I'd say be third, second, first.
I think the first is the best comic book adaptation that's ever been done.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But as a movie wise, yeah, the other I enjoyed the other one. Especially I always love time travel and how they did it was lots of fun. And really it was like Last Samurai meets Ninja Turtles a little bit. And then back then I was into classic movies a lot more than I am now, which I would love to get back into some of them. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is a 1960s Cary Grant movie called Charade.
Okay.
So anyway, and then my favorite Christmas movie of all time is a Bing Crosby movie, White Christmas. But anyway.
Great movie.
Great movie. But Ninja Turtles, so you can only win these, it looks like, controllers. So how to win it is by can enter to win the wireless controllers by following Game Pass on Twitter and retweeting the sweepstakes tweet. So that's how you can go win. So let's go here. Let's go find the tweet right here. Where is it? Scrolling. There we are. Here's the tweet. All right. Here's the tweet. The pizza party never stops with these guys. Follow Xbox Game Pass and retweet this post with the hashtag Xbox TMNT Movie Sweepstakes for a chance to win these inspired controllers. Be sure to see the movie in theaters 8/2/23. There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it may not even be a commercial product for sale.
No, it's not.
No, it's probably just
it's
a sweepstakes
definitely not.
prize.
Definitely not. They have a lot of Xbox does a lot of promo stuff like this. You can go onto the Xbox Rewards app on the console, and there's just like sweepstakes you can enter for all different kinds of like custom. There's a Barbie one. There's all kinds. Yeah, there's all kinds. It's crazy how many different ones there are. The sweepstakes you can enter. So, and this is just another one except through Twitter only. I wonder though if they do have this one on the Rewards app. I'll have to check at some point.
If I win it, I'm gonna send it to Chris just so I can see him do a Seth Rogen impression, like pizza Xbox.
Pizza Xbox. Yeah.
Oh god.
The house was on fire and I had to save my bong.
I had to save my bong and my Pizza Senate controller, man.
Not my baby mama. What's this movie called again?
Mutant Mayhem. Speaking of Mutant Mayhem, there's
yeah.
Speaking of Mutant Mayhem, we're also announced that we're getting an animated series that's also set in this universe, as well as a sequel already, and we haven't even gotten to this one yet.
Yeah, I thought this was really surprising.
Does that mean that it tested well? Is that what it means?
I guess
That
so, because I
sounds-
find it very
well,
interesting. They're feeling very confident. I'm just.
So what did they say in the article?
Same thing with Last Jedi.
I don't know if they said anything why. Let me
Because I
let's
was
see.
Yeah, I was very confused as to what gave them the confidence to not only just a sequel, but on top of that, a Paramount Plus series. Which, I mean, the
And the
Paramount Plus
makes more sense to
series.
me.
Well, they just want more content for their streaming service,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
that you can kind of just explain away with that. It's just an IP that they have that they want to use. But the sequel, that's at a substantial amount of money that they're already essentially. I mean, they could still cancel it, right? But they're essentially already saying they're going to put hundreds of millions of dollars into another film. So that's very interesting.
I
Yeah,
don't
does
see any
the
reasoning why here as I'm looking through the article.
doesn't mention it there? Okay.
No, they're just saying that they're just excited to grow this new version of the TMNT, and so we'll see where it goes. I mean, personally, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. I'll see it at some point in theaters. I don't know if I'll necessarily be there day one, but I'll absolutely see it soon because it comes out next week.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about it before, I mentioned that I was hoping that it would do well just so we could get more Ninja Turtles content out there. So it seems like we are trending in that direction. However, I have to be honest in that I'm not really excited for this movie. I'm very concerned about the direction they're going with.
Here's the thing, and we
there's
had this
good things about it too,
but we had this argument over on, and part of it is the April O'Neil thing, and the different characters from characters you're not styled in ways you're not really familiar with, different art styles. Like, what is it like that it feels more modern and you're not going to be able to relate to it? That's what I would like to know, Gio, because if it is those things. We had, especially if it's like the way April's a black dumpy teenager, you know, and I'm gonna say dumpy in a sincere way. That's what they made her, So, but we had this discussion when we were on Greenfellas about the actual way that the comics perceive April, and it's been between even Eastman and Laird up for debate between them, and so. The fact that Seth Rogen is a fan of Ninja Turtles, grew up watching them and all that stuff, read the comics, makes me not worried about this at all.
Well,
as long as the story's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't mean just because they've done a change like that it's inherently going to be a bad movie by any means. So yeah, I definitely don't think that. And I think enough time has passed too where since that they've announced that, where we've had time to sit with it, right? But I think my big concern was the last piece of footage that they posted for it, where they're changing the way the characters are written to the point where it's like it doesn't. Like, I'll give you an example. So in the scene I saw, it's them on the rooftop and they're discussing. Essentially, they've been given a mission to go out for. They make it sound like it's this crazy ninja mission, and as teenagers they're getting all psyched up for it, and really all it is, they're just going for groceries, which is kind of funny. But then when they start talking about it, they're like, remember what Master Splinter said, and I wish I had the quote in front of me, but he says something to the effect of whatever you do, don't, and they're quoting Splinter when they say this. They're like, whatever you do, don't go out in front of the humans, because they have a bloodlust for anything that is different from them. And they're like, we don't agree with that because it's kind of prejudice, but it's what our master taught us. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Traditionally, though, Splinter...
He did tell them to stay away from the humans, but he did not say, but there's a big difference between the humans are not going to understand you, and they have a bloodlust for anything that is different from them. Because essentially, and they make a point of saying that he is prejudiced.
Well, yeah. So he's he's old school and Japanese and probably World War II still flashbacks or something. Who knows? Something like that. Who knows? You have to remember if he's old Splinter, he might.
My issue with that comes with where essentially what you're saying is this is kind of a trend that we've seen in Hollywood, where essentially the parental figure is not respected. So it's, instead of what it used to be in movies, is you would have the wise old teacher.
Well, but maybe that would be but you don't know. I have a feeling that this will turn into he will be respected in the end. That's
Yeah,
I think part
it
of
could
it is
be. It
it's
could
going to
be.
be
And
that.
that's what.
It's a growth. This is definitely they're teenagers, like to the max teenagers in this. Where
Yes.
this is definitely a coming of age growth story. I'm already going to say that without even seeing the movie. And
Yeah, and I would hope so.
I have
I would
a
hope so.
feeling that at the end of it, they're gonna all like start to realize these things, and Splinter is gonna be a lot more respected at the end. But then I think also then at the end, Splinter is gonna be a lot more understanding because of April O'Neil and all. You know, it's gonna come full circle, and everyone's gonna compromise and be happy, and it's gonna become this happy-go-lucky moral of a story kind of movie, which is fine. It should be that when it's a kids movie.
Yeah, I think that would be great if that's how it ends up being. That's all you can really ask for in a movie like that. So if that's how it ends up being, I would be happy. My concern though, right? Because I haven't seen the movie, but my concern is that what they're going.
Well,
to
don't
do is
have those concerns until you see the movie. That's
well, I
what
can have the concerns.
Yeah, but
there's
I'm
nothing
saying
wrong with
why?
that.
What good does it do you?
I think what Gio's saying is like based off of like the current industry trend.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
That's
We've
what I'm
seen
saying.
movies who have
I
done
understand
this,
that.
right?
So go in not expecting the industry trend, and you
Yeah.
might be pleasantly surprised. That's what I'm saying.
been hit
Don't
or
go
miss.
in there negatively
goes-
already.
It goes
and
both
thinking
ways. If
that
you're
Yeah, it does go both
It
ways.
if you're
can.
not if you're expecting it to be bad and it's not, then it's exceeded your expectations. So
well, but
that's
don't
good
expect
too, right?
anything. That's what I'm saying. Have no expectations.
Yeah.
Why have expectations when it's just a movie? You know.
Well, I mean, but then why have expectations about anything? Why like we have
It's
to
an
have some kind of
animated movie
standards,
about
right?
turtles who are ninjas.
Yeah, but that's suspension of disbelief, Chris. You can't just say, "Oh, it's a movie about turtles, so why care?" Well,
No,
why
I
care
didn't
about
say don't
anything?
care. I never said don't care. That do not put words in my mouth, Gio. I never
Fair
said
enough.
don't care. I said don't have expectations. Care
Okay.
all you want. Love
Yeah.
the turtle. I love Ninja Turtles, but I'm not going in with expectations because it's a Ninja Turtles movie, dude.
Yeah, but
You know?
I just never agreed with that line of logic where it's like, "Oh, because it's a movie about turtles and
But
that's ridiculous."
and
that
I go in
everything
that
should
way
be
any movie
ridiculous,
now.
right?
I go with that way
Yeah.
any fiction. Because it's not based in reality, so you can't have any expectations over it because
Yeah. Well, and that's
there's no point in having expectations because it's not like it's gonna happen in real life. You know, you're not
Yeah,
gonna run into the mutant
absolutely.
turtles.
No, for sure, and that's great. Like if that's the way you want to look at the movie, then that's totally fine. I have no issue with
I don't
that.
know. We might have to come back to that real life topic later. Chris. Another topic.
I think so.
Just might.
Dun dun dun. Foreshadowing.
My just my only, just like I said, my only concern is just that I don't want it to be a situation where the turtles come in and they know better than Splinter does, and he's the one who's wrong, and they know, you know, because that's what a lot of these movies have done, where it's like the instead of having like the hero's journey or any kind of growth in the character, it's like they just realized that they were great all along, and everyone else just had to realize.
But Ninja Turtles has never been that way. When have you ever watched a Ninja Turtles movie that's been like that?
That's my point. That's my entire point.
That's what I'm saying. So like Ninja Turtle, don't use Hollywood's trends. Use Ninja Turtles trends. Just because movies like the Michael Bay movie wasn't great, you know, like there are movies that haven't been great for different reasons, but they've always still been true to the Ninja Turtles in the end, you know.
And I'm hoping that's what it is.
You're good,
right?
Patrick. You're good, Patrick. Still.
I was just it's my camera's going out of focus.
Yeah, you're good. I know you're good. You seem focused.
Silly webcam.
Yeah, I saw was like this, and I was like, I'm like,
it's doing that silly autofocus shit.
But yeah, so like I would say I'm gonna go off the trends of Ninja Turtles always being true to Ninja Turtles, and the fact that Seth Rogen and company are actual fans.
Yeah.
It's hard for
that's great.
Like,
it's great
like
to
Kevin
go into
Smith
it
with Masters of the
optimistic.
Universe,
Nothing wrong with
you
that.
know? And there are people who don't like Masters of the Universe from Kevin Smith that was a fan.
Yeah.
You know, and he went in as a fan.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's a whole nother.
And then he did a great job. And he did a great job.
Don't forget, you know, if even if this ends up being a bomb, this is not the first Turtles project that's not been, you know, less than received.
Absolutely.
There's been other ones in the past that have come out. You go, it could have been better. So yeah, that's in a positive light. That's how I'm seeing it. Even if it kind of is suckish, Like it's like
It's still a
it's not, it's not
a
the only one. It's still a Turtles
It's
project.
a Turtles
It is
movie.
what
You're
it
still
is.
gonna have fun with it, you know.
The other thing that's interesting too is that last I heard, they are still working on a separate Ninja Turtles movie as well. That's not related to this one. So that's what I found even more interesting is like they're going to a multi-tiered approach, kind of like what we're seeing with like DC and some of these other
The
companies.
Turtleverse.
Yeah, like they might be. I don't know if that's what they're doing, mind you.
Ultimate
Mhm.
crossover event,
Yeah.
like the power.
So
like
we might
Power Rangers.
see a few different turtle movies popping up, which I think is great. So that's awesome. Let's see. Any more thoughts about let's see. Oh, that was the TMNT movie.
Yep. So we're good on. Yeah. And speaking of animation things, next, Spencer's excited for this one.
Oh yes, I am. To where we are getting it's a spin-off series, a sequel spin-off series to one of my favorite Netflix series, Castlevania, but this one is called Castlevania Nocturne, to where the first one followed crap, what was his name? I don't remember the guy's name for the first
Simon?
one, but it was not Simon.
It wasn't
It was the
Simon.
guy
No, it
from
was,
Castlevania 3.
Yeah. What
Richter?
the hell's
Richter.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
That's not the guy. Richter is this new one.
Oh,
Oh,
Trevor.
this is
Trevor.
Oh, Simon
Thank
Belmont.
you, Trevor.
Trevor. Okay,
Trevor was the first
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
But this one, we get to see the fan favorite Richter Belmont. Too many names
Yeah,
here.
Simon
Richter
Belmont's
Belmont
son,
in this
right?
one.
I think it's Simon Belmont's son. Anyway,
They're all descendants of each
Yeah.
other and shit.
Right. Anyway, in this one, we just got our official poster for Castlevania Nocturne today with an official date that is coming out on September 28th. Honestly, this is probably like the only thing I'm really excited from Netflix coming up soon.
that's bad.
And teaser trailer tomorrow, so I'm very excited for that, and maybe we'll be talking about it a little more next week.
Absolutely. That's something where I'm a huge fan of the Castlevania games, and we haven't really gotten anything in the way of those in a long time. And the show has been kind of holding holding down the fort for Castlevania fans. And it's been one of the better offerings on Netflix in the past few years, for sure.
I really feel like, I honestly feel this way to where I feel like the Castlevania show kind of pioneered the show industry to showing video game adaptations can be done in the TV show world, right? At least beyond the general, Mario and Sonic cartoons that was done previously. And it's one of my favorite Netflix shows, honestly. That original Castlevania, all 4 seasons were really solid. It was great, and not just one of my favorite Netflix shows, but it is one of my favorite animes in general. I absolutely love the animation studio. Speaking of Masters of the Universe that Chris brought up a moment ago, they did the animation for Masters of the Universe Revelation, and so absolutely amazing animation studio. And their first thing was that Castlevania. Like I don't think the animation studio is owned by Netflix, but they pretty much only do Netflix stuff. And so, but yeah, it's really exciting to see that Castlevania is back. We get fan favorite character Richter up front in the center of this one. So as long as they keep up that quality from the first 4 seasons of Castlevania, I can't wait.
Yeah. Just want to mention real quick, King Castro X Gaming showed up in the
Welcome.
chat there. What's up, brother?
What's up, Castro Gaming?
Howdy.
And Alex also mentioned, says, never played a Castlevania, unfortunately, don't know what to expect by that. So even if you never played any of the games, you can easily jump into that show. You probably start from the first episode, mind you. All you need to know is that it's vampires, Dracula, right? So if you know who Dracula is, you'll and you enjoy that concept, you can get some enjoyment out of the show. It's one of those things where it has a lot of Easter eggs and references to the games, but that just adds to it. It's not something where it takes away if you don't recognize that stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I've only played a little bit of Castlevania. I've never beaten one. I maybe at most ever gotten to like level 2, maybe 3 of any of the games. And so I'm not that big of a fan that's really played the games necessarily. Like, I appreciate them. They're just not the kind of games I like to sit down and play a lot of. Even though I do appreciate them, right? They're landmark NES and ongoing titles, right? And so But I watched that show not knowing much going into it, and I must say that version of Dracula is one of my favorite interpretations of Dracula. Like half the time when somebody says Dracula, I think of that version of Dracula because he was so well done. Oh, yeah, I love that version of Dracula so much.
Yeah, it adds a lot of backstory and humanization to his character, right? Which I think it helps you empathize with him more and his reasonings for doing what he did and becoming into the character that he did.
Fantastic show. Go check it out. It's only like 32 episodes total across all the seasons, so go check it out.
I can't remember. It's been a few months now, but I played through Symphony of the Night recently, which was the one on PlayStation. First one on PlayStation, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But in any case, yeah, that's like regarded as like the opus of the series. And that's one I can recommend if anybody wants to check out like a good entry point into the series. I would say that would be a good place to start because it's fairly it's not a terribly difficult game, but it's like one I was glued to. Even like 20 years later, I was glued to the entire time from the start to the finish. I couldn't put it down. So yeah.
As far as recent Castlevania stuff, actually the most recent Castlevania thing that came out was a DLC for the indie game Dead Cells, which is one of my favorite indie games, and I played a little bit of that DLC. That is a fantastic DLC, and adding in all those Castlevania weapons with the fast-paced Dead Cells combat was just awesome.
Yeah, I've yet to play that, but I want to check that out too.
The closest to Castlevania I have ever been was playing as Simon and Richter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh,
that's it.
that
I haven't watched the show, I haven't played the games, but I have played them in Smash, and they're fantastic characters. Just on
some of my favorite characters. Some of my favorite characters to play is when I play.
And hard to play in Smash too. They're not very easy characters.
Everybody
to play.
says they're hard, yet I kicked ass with them. Anyway.
Alrighty. So let's see. We've gone over Castlevania. I don't think, unless anybody has any other thoughts, we can move on to the next thing.
Let's do it.
Another form of animation, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, not only Castlevania coming back with some anime, we've also got an anime of one of the most highly anticipated games, arguably the most anticipated game of the year.
Absolutely.
Possibly. That or Spider-Man 2. I feel like it's a close toss-up. But
those are pretty close.
Yeah, and they're two exclusives for their consoles, so it's going to be a very interesting race.
It's very close.
Very interesting race.
It is. It really is.
But yeah, Bethesda debuting 3 Starfield animated shorts exploring the settled systems. Now, I believe these are already out, correct?
Correct. I haven't watched them. None of us have watched them yet, but we are planning, and we make sure we watch them by next Wednesday so you can get our thoughts on them. But I think this is a good way to get fans excited for the game. Meet the locations that you'll be able to go and actually interact with people, the settled systems. You know, there's going to be a lot of planets in Starfield that are going to have nothing on them. This is just a fact. I mean, but the fact is that's space.
Yeah.
So, but this is really cool. There's a screenshot from the animation. It looks really like authentically anime. So
yeah, it looks like a hand-drawn background there, which if that's the case, that's great.
There's YouTube links right. They're right on YouTube, so you can just watch them right on YouTube. It's the game is available September 6th, so we've got a little over a month before the game releases.
September 1st for the early access if you buy the
if you do. I still haven't decided.
Or the upgrade.
I haven't. It's only $30. I stop it. Don't. I've spent
only 30.
It's
Come
all
on.
The messenger is running me dry of money. Freaking messengers. That's an inside joke that we may explain later.
All right. Anyway. Yeah. I'm looking forward to check out these shorts. I think it's a great way to introduce more of this world. I really like the worlds that Bethesda makes in general. Such great in-depth worlds, and so especially when it's sci-fi, it's usually for me, and so I'm really excited to see what Bethesda's been cooking up. Because here's the thing: the idea of this has been around for so long, and so
Starfield, yeah,
it's cool
this has been a game that people have known about since, probably New Vegas came out. They've talked about doing a game like this, after the success of New Vegas from Obsidian. Bethesda probably looked at it and was like, I think they looked at it, and then Fallout, then Skyrim was next, right? And then
I don't know.
no,
I think that's right.
I think
that's
New
right.
Vegas, that's right. And then
That's right.
yep, and
Something
then
like that.
and then we had Fallout 4.
All 4.
So between Skyrim and Fallout 4 is, I think, where they really started work on Starfield.
Yeah, and we saw Obsidian go and make their own space game as well with
Outer Worlds, correct?
Outer Worlds.
Yep,
Outer Worlds,
that's right. Yeah, so
that was
that's why I think that's where that all kind of came together. Now it's funny because both Obsidian and Bethesda are Microsoft properties.
yeah.
You know what I find hilarious as well about that is that like Starfield is going for this mass expansion of space, and then Obsidian has Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. With
Grounded, you mean? Yeah.
Grounded, yeah.
Grounded,
So they're going in
yes.
opposite directions, and yet they're still big worlds. And they're in a different little special way.
Absolutely. I think one thing that's interesting about this, it just occurred to me, is I think the reason why they're doing this with the animated shorts is this is starting to become a trend that we've seen previously with I know what's the Cyberpunk 2077 did this with Edge Runner, and
they're
what was
doing
the other
another
game?
one.
There was a Riot Games game that did it as well that had an anime based on it.
Arcane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was
Arcane.
very well received, and both of those drove traffic to the games. So essentially, I think that's what they're trying to do, is follow that trend where we get some extra content that drives people potentially that wouldn't have cared about the game prior. That may give it a chance after seeing this world through the lens of the anime or the show, whatever the show happens to be.
Yeah, I wonder if these get a ton of views, and the game obviously does really well, if we get maybe an actual show, an anime show.
Ooh, that'd be
based
interesting.
on Starfield, which would be cool.
Yeah. I think that them putting it out on YouTube is a great idea as well, because it expands the reach. Anybody with a
Accessibility,
YouTube
for sure,
account
yeah.
or anybody with a
You don't even
internet
need a YouTube
connection.
account.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
guess
don't
you
need a
don't.
YouTube account.
Well, unless they're one of adult only, but you know what I mean.
Or
Point
depending
still
on the
stands.
country you're in, yada yada yada. Yeah, I mean,
Anybody
yeah.
for free can watch them, as opposed to needing a Netflix subscription or one of the other ones. So that's a great marketing strategy, I think, but on their part.
Yeah, I think I'm very excited for Starfield. It's something you may see if the dual stream thing works and Spencer's Potato Internet is fixed by then. You may get some dual Starfield streams of single player campaigns of just sitting here hanging out, and all 4 of us, because why not?
Because my inner flight sim is gonna want to fly.
Oh, you're right. And design your ship and everything. Absolutely.
I can't wait to see everybody's ships. Like, we're all gonna have to share our ships on stream, because we're just all gonna come up with some wacky designs.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be a wealth of things we can do with that game.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait to see Spencer's
the modding. Because the thing with it is, it's going to be, since it's a Bethesda game, they're gonna have their own. Even though like you can't like do like the Steam modding and do there is going to be an in-game mod menu eventually, I'm sure. Just like there is with Fallout and Skyrim and all that.
Yep.
So that's going to be
already talk
of
a Star Wars mod in development for Starfield.
Oh my gosh.
Like, the fan community is ready to do Star Wars modding.
They already got like the models ready and shit.
That would be I'm for it. I'm all for it.
I have heard people saying they want like Star Destroyers in the game, like flyable ships. Like, they're ready to do that level of content.
Wow, that's a little clunky
We'll
there.
see.
I'd rather have just like some X-wings. Well, I guess if you can build
Or
it,
Millennium Falcon.
a Millennium Falcon, I'd take,
there.
or the
Wave
Ghost.
one.
But Yeah.
Someone's gonna put the USS Enterprise in there too.
That's true. Star Trek would be
No.
cool too, and do the
Star Trek
Federation of
crossover
Planets
would be
and
huge.
stuff. Yeah, that would be awesome. Absolutely. Oh man,
sure.
Bethesda. Bethesda. We're excited. Speaking of Bethesda and Xbox and Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Game Pass.
And what about Gold? What about Gold?
Xbox Live Gold is going goodbye.
No, I love gold.
And introducing
Crappy monthly games.
Game Pass Core. Yeah, no more games with gold, folks. Because
Damn
Game
it.
Pass Core is now going to be a thing. So we have one more month of games with gold. So we'll get one more month of
Yay,
it.
enjoy
They haven't
your
announced what
final
they are.
month.
Hopefully it's something freaking good this time. I
Dude,
doubt
we
it
might
will
get-
be, but you never know.
We might get some serious bangers for this final month.
Maybe, but starting on September 14th, Xbox Live Gold becomes Xbox Game Pass Core, and it comes with 25 games available for $10 a month or $60 a year. So it's basically using the same price model. Where's the list? Here's the list of games. This is straight from Xbox Wire on their site. So we're going right to the source here, folks. Here's the list of games. Spencer, there's a game missing from this list, isn't there, that you think that should have been on here?
Oh yeah, we were talking about the big sailing game, right?
Yeah,
Where
that
you
big
go be pirates.
Pirates, yeah.
That's the big that big Sea of Thieves game. That's
Sea of Thieves. It's interesting. You're right.
I mean, it's because I'd argue that's probably Xbox's like flagship multiplayer game right now, right?
100%.
flagship.
Besides Halo, maybe, but Infinite's not even
No,
on the
no,
list.
you
But that's
know-
free to
you know-
play.
In-
That's free to play,
Infinite-
though,
Infinite,
technically.
yeah, that's
so
free to
Free to
play.
play.
it's free to play.
But I was about to say, Infinite's gone
Well,
really
campaign's
downhill as
not.
far as numbers go.
True,
Sea of Thieves has kept up that great player base.
Yeah,
is what
you're
I'm
right.
saying.
I'd say Sea of Thieves, ESO, but Sea of Thieves for sure. If you're thinking like Microsoft,
So
yes.
I don't count Xbox though, because that's
Yeah,
on
yeah.
everything now, and it's
But it's interesting
Yeah,
because
whole
they
other
talked
thing.
about how this is supposed to be some big like multiplayer list, but then there's games like Psychonauts 2 on there, Fable Anniversary.
I feel
Like,
like it's a
instead
good
of those,
mix.
you're right. Why not put Sea of Thieves?
Yeah. And I think the reason why they did that is because they essentially are using this to try to lure people into getting that
The higher
upgraded-
tier, yeah.
higher
Here are the
tier
different
Game
tiers.
Pass.
Speaking of, so Core $10 a month, catalog of 25 high quality games on console, and you get access to online console multiplayer, and you get the member deals and discounts. Then there's console Game Pass, just console. You get the hundreds of games on console, new games on day one that they have added, and member deals and discounts. That's $11 a month. So that's actually going up in price that's gone up in price by $1. I think that already had.
So sorry, which one? The console one's going
Console
up
one.
$1?
Yeah, it's
okay.
$10.99. It was $9.99 because Core is now becoming a Game Pass tier rather than just Xbox Live Gold. They were two separate programs completely.
Yes.
So now Core is part of Xbox, the $10 tier. There can't be two $10 tiers. So, but it's stupid. For an extra $1 a month, folks, you can get like another 200 and some games access to. It's weird.
Yeah,
Very weird.
that's like a exactly how they want people to think of it too.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, because what they're going to do is you're going to have a whole bunch of people who had no interest in Game Pass, and they have their
and they're
Xbox
gonna.
Live
It's it's funny you mentioned
and
that.
they're gonna say exactly what you said, Chris. They're gonna be like, oh, for $1
yes
more,
and no, because here's what's gonna happen. First of all, let me go over the other tiers, but then I'll go over what's gonna happen. Because
sure.
then there's PC, which is $10 a month. That comes with all the games on PC plus EA Play on PC. Then if you get Ultimate, you get PC, console, cloud, and EA Play on both PC and console. And sometimes some games are EA Play games are on cloud. However, but you're right. Those people that just had Golden and no interest in Game Pass, they're gonna get automatically switched to Core.
Yes.
So that's what's going to happen. And so they're not going to, a lot of these people, I guarantee you there are people out there who have Xbox Live Gold who don't even realize that they're paying for it. And so they're gonna have all these people just paying for core who are gonna not realize that for an extra $1 they get so much more, but they don't care because they didn't care about all those games like you said, Gio. So that's gonna be interesting to see how many people actually do care and upgrade to that next tier. Thoughts,
Yeah,
everybody?
I think first off, it's that when you consider the Xbox Live as it was, there was a lot of. It's nice that in that sense they're adding value to that because it's the same price you were paying before. There's a lot of people who are against the fact that you're even paying for online access to begin with, but you're keeping all the same stuff on that you got on Xbox Live, plus giving them the 25 games. So I think that's great that they're adding value in that sense.
But they're taking away value because you're not getting the 2 free games a month anymore.
That's a good point, and then I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something I read this last night and I wasn't aware of. So that's because I didn't have Xbox Live. I had PlayStation Plus, the equivalent on the other side. So, but that being said, yeah, that's kind of interesting because I think that really pins down what their strategy is here. Is they're just getting people, they want them to go to Game Pass, and so they're saying we're giving you these 25 games, and they said they're going to update that list like 3 or 4 times a year, so you'll occasionally see some different games on there, preferably more games, but it remains to be seen if that's going to be the case. But for the extra $1, then they're trying to make it an easy decision for people. Because you have a lot of people who don't want to do that subscription model. So when you make it that easy for them, I think it's a good marketing strategy. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but if you look at it from a objective perspective, I think it's smart. But yeah, what do you guys have any thoughts on this, Patrick, Spencer?
I do. So for your quick little pickup games, like a few single player titles, but mostly multiplayer titles, it typically is those are going to be your main heavy hitters. You're going to be playing with your friends most of the time, anyways. Whether it's main Microsoft Xbox titles or a third party title, generally they're going to narrow that list down to games people actually are relatively current and they're going to want to play together. That's where they're really trying to hit the nail on the head without going fully into that Game Pass Ultimate tier. So if there's a game your friends are going to play, it's probably going to be in this list. Is their rationale? Like, so if you want to pick up and play Forza, you can play Forza. If you want to play, Psychonauts on your own time, you can play Psychonauts. That's going to be a great way to do it. But also on the other end, it's going to be about $10 cheaper, I think, $10 cheaper than Ultimate. So if you don't feel like spending a lot of money on that end, that's a great way just to play those multiplayer titles in a subscription model.
$8 cheaper than
$8 cheaper.
$8 no $7. Sorry, only $7 cheaper than
only
core.
$7 cheaper.
$6 cheaper than Xbox Game Pass for console.
Okay.
So it's really not that big. Like Ultimate is the best.
Ultimate is still the best deal if you're looking for
gaming,
even more
I
games.
Think.
Yeah.
That's value.
But then on
right?
top of that,
value,
if you're a collector that's just going to buy physical copies anyways, I think this is also another viable route as well. Because if there's still like niche titles you still want to purchase, that few bucks you're saving every month, that could go towards, an extra 1 or 2 games a year you could purchase physically. So it might not seem like a whole big amount of difference because ultimately, if you're buying into Game Pass, those are titles you're not actually physically owning.
No.
So if you're a physical collector, that might be the way to go is core instead. Because if it's these multiplayer titles, they're going to shut the servers down someday. You're not going to care about it. Core might be the way to go. But it really comes down to what titles are your friends playing.
Yeah, I think they probably grab this list from some sort of demographic.
Probably based off of active players, I would think, right?
To me, it just looks like games that they don't care about giving away for free.
That's what it looks like. That's part of it.
So
it's
a step above
Among
Xbox
Us,
Live
a $5 game.
Okay.
Descenders, $20 game. That's a little bike game. It's cool. It's a fun game. It's game.
Yep.
Open world.
A bunch of these games have been out for years.
Dishonored 2 is an okay game. Doom Eternal is a great game to play once. The multiplayer is not good. Fable Anniversary, great game to play once. Fallout 4, great game. Yes, you'll get. That's a great one to throw in there because you'll get lost in forever. Fallout 76, sure, another one great. Forza Horizon 4. Why did you give the people 5? Come on, people. Forza Motorsport's about to come out. That's so weird.
I bet they did that to get you
to get the next tier so you can get 5. Exactly.
Yeah,
Gears 5, though, then why not just give them Gears 4? You know, instead of Gears 5.
Yeah.
So that's weird. Then Grounded, obviously, great choice. Halo 5 Guardians, terrible choice. No one should play that game.
Yeah, that's
not even the story, not even the multiplayer. Halo Wars 2, fun game if you like an RTS, but I feel like not a ton of people are going to play an RTS on console, especially the ones that are only paying for that tier. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, you play it once, you're done. Human Fall Flat, come on, no one's playing that game anymore. It's a fun game, but I only ever played it to get Microsoft Rewards points. Inside, you're going to play it once, you're done. Same with Ori Will of the Wisp. Same with Psychonauts 2. State of Decay 2, fun game, but got many, many issues. ESO Online, another one like Fallout 4, Fallout 76, you're going to get lost in for hours, so it's not bad to be on that list. So most of those games, I think, should not be on that list. It's a very poor list. I am very disappointed in Microsoft. This is a complete business marketing tactic to get people to go to Game Pass for console, making it only $1 cheaper. This, I'm very, and to not only on top of this, them totally kiboshing the whole Game Pass friends and family idea. This is showing me that they're worried about money right now. However, I think they're about to have some really good news for them happen, and I think money is going to become not a problem starting this fall. And I think that's
with Starfield.
No. And that's a good way for us to segue into our next.
Well, the other thing too.
Yes, the next.
But I'm thinking Starfield's going to be the start of that.
No, because Starfield is exclusive. And I'm thinking because of this
but I think
next,
they're going to recoup a lot of money.
Oh, sure. But I think they're really going to recoup a lot of money this fall. And why is that, Gio? Probably.
We've got some. I don't have the article in front of me. My bad.
It's not an article. It's a tweet. The next thing on the list. It's 2 tweets. All right, I'll just do it. So, guys. Xbox and Microsoft and PlayStation have come to an agreement that basically will keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for the foreseeable future, which is the biggest hurdle that Microsoft has been facing in the UK.
And only in the UK. Thank
you, Patrick. Let's start there. Let's talk about
this. This goes deep, and I'm gonna let Chris go off because Chris, I'm sure you could talk about this one for a while.
I want everybody else to start though, because you're right. I'm gonna go on for a minute, but I want everybody else to start because I have a lot.
Spencer, how deep are you knowledgeable on this?
I don't know. As far as this one goes, I mean it's finally PlayStation bending over to what Microsoft has been wanting to do, and there's been this whole buyout, and PlayStation's been trying to stop them inadvertently, right? Because they don't want the whole deal to go through, and so just the whole thing, as far as PlayStation's choices through this whole thing has annoyed me, right? It's like I do think at the end of the day, I do like PlayStation's catalog of games, right? They have a fantastic single player lineup of games that absolutely smashes what Xbox has to offer. But how, casting aside personal feelings aside, how much I like PlayStation, at least their products, I've been really annoyed with how they've been handling this whole situation. And this is what they should have done right away. But instead, they were wanting to try to stop this deal from going through at all, even when at the very beginning, Microsoft was saying, hey, you could have this deal, the same exact deal before all this court stuff and all this other stuff where PlayStation was trying to be petty. And so, I mean, good on PlayStation. Honestly, you know what? Good on Microsoft to even still offer PlayStation this deal even after all the pettiness that they tried to go through.
I agree. I agree.
100%.
And so, but you know what? Good to see that it's still there. And even without that deal, I don't even think Call of Duty would. I don't know. It's hard for me in general to see Call of Duty become exclusive, but good to know that it's in the contract for at least a while now.
Gio, any thoughts?
I imagine.
Oh, I was gonna say let Gio go because I know Patrick, you and I probably have the most.
Go,
thoughts
Gio.
on
Yeah,
this
we're gonna
season.
go on. We're gonna go long. So go ahead, Gio.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short because I mean I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this because on how do I put this? I don't think that this was if you guys were saying I don't even know where to start. So I don't think this is a situation where we talk about PlayStation being petty, for example. It's like they're kind of just doing what they had to do as a business. I feel like I don't really have a. Keep in mind, I don't, and you know, you can bring this up on when on your time there, Chris. But I just want to say I don't have a horse in the race. I'm not taking sides on either of this. I feel like monopolies in general are bad. I don't think that the merger is going to help any of the consumers. This is not going to be good for any of us.
But it's not to do with that. It's this is how PlayStation has acted. And that's you're right. We will get into that for sure. And I'll explain a lot more deeper into it that will make you kind of understand why Spencer said what he said about finally that and being basically Xbox still taking the high road. Essentially right now.
And I think it's but here's the point to that I and maybe you guys can explain this, but here's the thing, it's like this is not in my view, it is not Microsoft being like taking the high road. This is what they had to do to get the deal done. So
they didn't have to offer they didn't have to offer Sony anything.
But this would make it a hell of a lot easier to get there.
Sure, but yes, easier. But not necessary.
Because this is the whole point: is PlayStation's point goes down the drain when Xbox says, "Oh, we're going to give you Call of Duty."
PlayStation, they already said that. That's the point that Spencer was making. They were already saying they were going to give them Call of Duty the whole time, and PlayStation kept saying, "Oh, but they're going to." PlayStation's. Oh man. Patrick, go first, because I'm gonna.
So that's the point, though. Is like it throws PlayStation's point down the drain.
Not even their point. You're gonna see. There's a lot more points that PlayStation tried to make. That Anyway, Patrick, I think you should go first because I'm gonna get really heated about this.
So I'll just finish up. It's just I guess bottom line, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't think mergers are good in to begin with. But that being said, it's a thing where both sides I don't really I just don't have a horse in the race on this because I just feel like both sides I don't really agree with what they're doing, and but I do feel like they're kind of doing what they think is the right thing to do to win for their side, but whether that's an effective strategy, whether that's the right thing to do from a financial perspective, I don't know about that. But yeah, sorry, Patrick.
All right, so first of all, let's go back to about 2018, 2019.
Here we go.
So around this time, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so Xbox and Bethesda, they agreed on a merger deal back then. That was the largest deal.
That was 2019. 2019 is
2019.
It went
and
through.
they worked that deal out for what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
They had to sit there and hash that out. That took a long time. They had to go through the same process with them. It was a much smoother process, but they had to be diligent and they had to go through with it. And as I recall, and I didn't know this till about recently, Starfield was supposed to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Correct.
As part of a deal they had worked out, and
it wasn't on paper yet, but
it wasn't on paper yet. But that was the plan: was that it was going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, I heard that
as part of Bethesda. And so what they ended up doing is they got Deathloop, correct? Was that Bethesda?
Yeah, they got Ghostwire Tokyo as well.
Ghostwire Tokyo, okay.
As well, so
yeah, they got that. They got all of that dealt with, and then Starfield became an Xbox exclusive after the merger deal happened. Mm-hmm. Everything's been fine with that. Now, fast forward a few years, now we're in the situation with Activision, and then, Activision, they've had a brutal history. they've in the last few years, rumors of workplace issues with stuff at Activision, and on top of that, also the stuff Activision is just part of it. They're also part of, what is it, Blizzard? Activision Blizzard now, because Activision and Blizzard had merged together. So there was issues on the World of Warcraft end of things on that side of Blizzard Studios. So overall, it's been a very messy road. And then I think it was about 2 years ago, Phil Spencer started peeking up on interest of things at Activision Blizzard aren't going as well as we thought. So we're going to consider a merger if they would be so inclined to do so. Because, Phil Spencer at that point, as a businessman, Series X launched, and then immediately afterwards, the pandemic hit. They were severely short on games. They were hemorrhaging millions of dollars because all their studios were just developing games, delay. Xbox, what was it? Halo Infinite delayed an entire year. Your flagship franchise that was supposed to launch with the console delayed a year and was still lacking content. So that's how rough Xbox has had it this generation. Like Spencer was saying, PS5 has clearly swept away Xbox this generation. It's not even a contest. And I know even at one point they said Nintendo Switch sales were doing better than Xbox, and still might be as far as I'm concerned. Even though it's a three years older of a console compared to this current gen. And now we're mid-gen again, and we're in the situation now where Nintendo's even talking about doing a console, and how that figures into all of this. When all this pettiness started with Sony in during the whole buyout process, Nintendo even got involved with Xbox, and Phil's been having contacts, with Nintendo of America and Doug Bowser, and they worked out a 10-year deal. Call of Duty is coming to Nintendo consoles for the next 10 years. And that was on the table the same time all this PlayStation stuff happened, and they said, PlayStation, we're going to offer you a sweet deal. Look, Nintendo's in on the pie. You can be part of this pie too. And like Chris was saying, that has always been on the table. They were always going to work out some sort of deal behind closed doors with Sony. And for whatever reason, Sony, being the competitive business, they are the top. As far as I know, they are the top of sales in the world for gaming.
They still are. Yeah, Sony's still up.
They stagger up and down in terms of console sales, but in terms of like software sales, as far as I know, they're still number one.
Well, here's the thing. So there's a lot of things. First of all, let's talk about the UK side of things, where at the CMA, that's what this is about. At the CMA,
that ultimately is that.
At the CMA, one of their top lawyers is a former Sony lawyer. So that's already fishy. There it is. The UK is the one.
That right there.
The one UK is the one government that is denying this deal all over the world. So that to me, there, one, is a little fishy. Two, yes, this whole talk about exclusives there, exclusives that they're gonna make Call of Duty an exclusive. You guys have God of War, Spider-Man. You guys have all these huge selling exclusives, especially Spider-Man to me, which is this universal character that is loved by the whole world, and you're making it exclusive on console, and you're bitching about Starfield, and you're bitching about Activision and Call of Duty because you're making as much money after, as Patrick just mentioned, that Call of Duty was already promised to PlayStation, and all the Activision games have been promised to all these cloud game streaming services, and all these deals have been signed for like 10 to 15 years. And
don't forget, this goes back even 10 years previous, and I think this is part of the reason that became an issue was Call of Duty specifically. Call of Duty was always, as far as I know, a launch title exclusive.
No, it was never a launch title exclusive. It had DLC launch
limited
exclusive.
Release.
Yeah, it had like DLC launch exclusives on PlayStation. It never had deals with Microsoft.
PlayStation only.
Ever. It always, and this was back in the day before DLCs were just like updated for free in a lot of Call of Duty games. Yeah. But that's besides the point. I'm talking about like they're bitching about the quality that games. First of all, the UK bitching about the quality of streaming games. That this deal is going to be bad for cloud gaming when all these companies have signed this deal with Microsoft to have all the Activision games on these cloud gaming services. Then you have PlayStation bitching, claiming claiming that Microsoft is going to bug Call of Duty on purpose so it doesn't run as well on PlayStation. And don't get me wrong, people have accused Sony of doing that with games like MLB on Xbox, and it's a whole bunch of bullshit. It doesn't happen. Sony has just been petty and pettier and pettier, claiming that Microsoft is undermining the whole industry when Sony's out there trying to make deals for other companies as well.
And they're the top dog. How can
and they're ones making all the money. Sony is already making more money than they need to worry about, and they're still making more because they have all these exclusives that are coming out.
Are they worried when they take Call of Duty away at some point?
They're not going to take and that's the thing. Here's my prediction. Bold prediction. Call of Duty is going to go away before the deal is even over.
That's what I'm thinking, because Xbox. And somebody brought this up.
That's why it's such a big, like, so stupid that Sony.
Yeah. If Xbox wants to crush Call of Duty and come up with a similar platform, like a brand new title that's very similar to Call of Duty, that immediately can negate a lot of these contracts. They're like, oh yeah, we'll sign a deal with you. So after 10 years, if they want to do a new brand,
that's the thing, though.
I don't get this new franchise.
Yeah, I don't think that Call of Duty is going anywhere this generation.
It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
So, but I mean,
it needs a lot of fixing, though. I gotta admit that
it does. It's getting stale.
A lot of love.
But at the same time, Microsoft's not really the company to fix it.
They are, but
in that sense, and that's part of it. Is I don't know what it. Microsoft getting Activision is not going to change much about Activision's games.
No, it's only going to change at the management level. That's about it. How they manage the company.
But the actual we may get some good like crossovers and new games. I don't know how many new IPs we'll get. We'll get things like Warcraft.
I hope we get new IP. New IP would be great for Xbox.
Yeah, but Activision doesn't do new IPs. When's the last
could after this deal.
Phil
might push them to do at least 1 or 2 projects, I would think.
When is the last Activision new IP that we got?
It's been a hot minute. But
Destiny, I guess?
Well, was that
because Bungie was when Bungie was a part of Activision.
Bungie was part of Activision, and then with Destiny 2, it
wasn't
Bungie,
wasn't Bungie a part of Sony or something or is or
they are now.
They are now.
I think.
Bungie,
I believe that. Yeah, I think they're part of Sony now.
So,
but then something happened. I remember because didn't Destiny 2, as part of the buyout, didn't they like? Something happened. The Destiny 2 servers, something happened. And
Destiny 2 got changed. Destiny 2 was out, and
their publisher switched out.
It was they switched servers because they left Activision.
Yeah, they left Activision. They became a standalone. That's what
became a standalone company for a little bit. But anyway, we're getting on tangents here. But so that means that now the UK really has no ground to do anything. So
it sounded like the judge was even thinking that. Like he's
that's in the US. So the UK,
worldwide done deal.
The UK now they're extending everything going on until October. So October we should have an answer from the UK.
And if they still won't budge on that, dude,
then the deal's dead. I mean, if they're not going to budge, I don't know what you can do except not do business in the UK. I mean, how does that work?
But,
pull out, which they can't do because a lot of their stuff is in the UK for Microsoft.
They've already said if the UK fans, if this deal doesn't go through and the rest of the world gets the games, you are shafting such a huge percentage of your market in the UK alone. Like if these things don't go through in the UK, like dude, they are losing so much potential, for gains. Not a huge amount of gains, but a good amount of buyers are in the UK.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the population is small, so yes and no.
Yeah.
But I think the point of this is that Sony had a big hand, I think, in that UK issue because of that whole connection with the lawyer.
Oh, no doubt. There's some shady stuff going on.
Yeah. It's always about money. I mean, just look. I'll throw a sports analogy in here with the World Cup and how the Qatar World Cup was. That the reason the last World Cup was in a Middle Eastern country was purely money and corruption, and it was proven. And I have a feeling that this is a little bit of it, and that the UK, the CMA in the UK is not going to be able to really do much. The European Commission is still kind of finishing their deal, but they've approved it. There's been all kinds of weird countries that they've come up with reports of like in the Philippines it's been approved, and things like that. So all these like weird countries are approving it, the European Commission, and now even the United States. So UK is that lone country for a stupid reason, saying that they're bad for cloud gaming when they were promoting cloud gaming. That's Microsoft's whole goal, is to give everybody access to any to all their games.
Yeah,
so
that's all they're trying to do.
That's all they're trying. They're moving away from pushing consoles as much, and they push subscriptions. That's their thing.
They're trying to sell Samsung TVs.
yeah. With the
That's basically what it boils down to. Hey, buy our TV. You can
play. So, does anybody have any other thoughts on this? Gio, do you have any other thoughts now that you've heard some little more of the details?
No, I think you guys summed it up pretty nicely. It's just a big, huge clusterfuck, for lack of a better term. And I think ultimately I don't care as long as it ends up good for the consumer. That's my concern, right? Because we're the ones who end up going to be playing the games that result in this. So it's like whatever results in us getting the most access to games. That's one of the things I like about I'm primarily now a PC gamer. Mm-hmm. Back to that is that I don't have to worry about what's going to be an exclusive unless it doesn't come to PC, and usually that's just a matter of time. Even if it doesn't come to PC, I'll be able to play it by emulator somewhere down the road, right? So I think that's just where I stand, is just let the most amount of people play the game, or whatever way that happens.
Yeah, and if I can get Call of Duty on Game Pass, I'll play it more. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If Call of Duty ends up on Game Pass, I'll play it.
Quick add-on, by the way. I know this wasn't in our show notes. Just a little addendum in here. If you guys hadn't heard already, a lot of the classic Call of Duty games are on sale right now. So if you like older school Call of Duty games, and on top of that, they just fixed the multiplayer servers.
Yes.
Go back and play. They're fantastic. I've just got back into Black Ops.
World at War would be the one I would play.
Oh, wow. So you can go back and play multiplayer on the old titles.
The servers are fully operational again.
Yep.
That sounds really cool.
The community is thriving. So many current players are going back and playing the old games. And, dude, we are loving it. It is a good time to be a Call of Duty fan again.
Yeah, so many people have their particular favorite game of the series, right? So it's nice that they can go back to that and relive those kind of memories. So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, Spencer? Or no?
No, I don't have anything. Chris and Patrick really cleared up really well there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean,
like I said, my point still stands, and they just really elaborated on it very well. So
absolutely.
Let's hope that we don't get any like of the futuristic Call of Duties again, and have some sort of like aliens or UFOs.
We need Keanu Call of Duty. Like, it's cyberpunk.
No.
I thought you meant...
As long as we don't get ones with any aliens or UFOs.
What?
Yeah, Call of Duty players don't want that. They want to shoot another person.
Segue! Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Spencer got it, but he didn't say anything.
But you know who does like UFO?
Who's that?
the U.S. Congress?
Everybody.
What?
Yeah. Hey guys, did you know that in the U.S. at the Congress today, there were hearings about UFOs, actual hearings about UFOs.
Now this is kind of crazy because
they call them UAPs now. Actually, sort of like
Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. Now this is something that we've heard of for years now in terms of like different reports from people in various capacities that have said that they've witnessed, whether it's a UFO, a actual alien, things of that nature. But this is one of the first times that we're seeing it in this context.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really interesting to point out, because I think we've gotten to the point in society where you even bring up the concept of aliens, and it really falls on deaf ears, and people are just like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, things like that. So I think it's really interesting that you're seeing these people in positions of power in the military, things like that, and they're happy to publicly state this. So that's a thing, because it's like, okay, if they have some kind of knowledge, aren't they afraid of the repercussions of letting that out? And clearly they aren't in this case.
Yeah, so 3 people testified. There was 2 former Navy, and a former Navy commander, and a Air Force veteran, and a Navy pilot. The Air Force veteran worked in intelligence. He did an interview on News Nation, a news channel here in the United States, and it was exclusive by them. And then this set off this whole thing of, what's the government hiding? And then all these other people have stepped forward, and boom, we got these hearings, and now all these people are calling for reporting systems, because and I watched a little bit of it. There's not much in the article. Let's just take a look at one of the guys. That's one of the guys there. But they talked about how there needs to be a reporting system, because for commercial pilots, even, there's no way to report this. They just kind of get laughed at, say, oh, you're crazy. A lot of people risk their jobs if they report these kind of things. So there are many people who've been threatened by their superiors in government jobs, about reporting this kind of stuff. But there's clear video of weird unidentified objects. One of the descriptions I heard when watching the hearings was that it was a huge sphere with a white cube inside of it, just a solid cube, and the apex of the cube was hitting the edge of the sphere. And it went from 0 to like Mach 2 in like no time, from a dead stop, and went up straight to space and came back down, like hover. They were like, this is stuff that nobody on Earth could have. And the fact that it's so many different corroborations of the same story and same type of object, it's not a coincidence to me.
Yeah, I've heard reports like that in the past as well, of like almost exactly what you just described. So that's very interesting. And I understand that there's when you say UFO, that can mean, it means unidentified flying object. That could be a human made spacecraft or vehicle that we're just not aware of, right? But that being said, like you said, like this is advanced technology that we have never seen. So if it is human made, I guess that's a whole nother discussion. It's definitely beyond anything that we're aware of in human technology. That's for sure.
Thoughts from the other two?
Should I say it or should you say it, Spencer?
Go on. Oh, no, you go. I definitely have thoughts, but...
Aliens.
I'm not saying it's aliens.
I think it's interesting that they're finally getting around to doing these hearings. We definitely should have had this a long time ago, but government being government, they don't want to do it. You gotta really push them to get to these weird sort of hearings on things like aliens. But the justification behind it is always good, that they're aiming it now as not just a reporting system, but as national defense, obviously, because you got these foreign objects flying into the U.S. You don't know if it's Russian, Chinese, alien. Doesn't matter. You should treat it as if it was, whether it's a friendly aircraft, in the skies, or an enemy aircraft. You just don't know. I have friends I've talked to over the years that used to work for North American Aerospace Defense. So I know people who were in this business. They did it, 365 days a year. So some of the stuff I've heard has been pretty wacky and crazy. Nothing as crazy as aliens, but there's stuff out there that's happening that you and I don't know about. There's a lot of confidential stuff. You look back, into the 60s and 70s and 80s, America has had so many secretive aircraft we didn't know about till a few years later because all that stuff was under lock and key. The only reason people knew about it is because some lucky few people got to snap pictures. If you guys want to look into some really cool stuff, look into spy plane documentaries on YouTube. Those are really cool, talking about how America has developed all these kinds of aircraft over the years, and the technology's out there, and they don't want you to know about it. And they test that stuff all over the place. And I've seen some stuff that the Air Force, and I've even heard maybe potentially Space Force has been doing the last few years. We got some cool technology, but the stuff we do know about is not as advanced as the stuff that they're talking about in these congressional hearings. So, A, who's involved? B, is it extraterrestrial, possibly? Or C, is this just like some sort of, psycho weird situation where somebody's maybe seeing something that's not really there? That's also a possibility. But based off the evidence we're seeing in these hearings and the stuff that's been coming out the last several months and years, a lot of this stuff is legit. It's real. It's been captured on video. So those are the questions they're trying to hammer out, and now is a better time than any to discuss, national air defense, and now I've even heard some of these craft are even going underwater potentially. So it's not just space and the airspace. Now they're talking about possibly maritime related stuff off the coast of, the U.S. and Canada and stuff like that. So
Better not be going
everything's
after
on the
our
table.
cod.
They're going after your cod. Secretly, that's why the aliens are coming to Earth. They need cod.
They better stay away
It's
from
all about
our
the
cod.
cod, man.
We need that cod.
But oh yeah, because we were just talking about Call of Duty too.
Ah, there you go.
We need that cod. Spencer, what are you thinking about with this alien story?
It's my personal belief, right, that there are aliens, right? I don't think there's any denial that aliens is a real thing, right? The universe is so massive, right? I mean, truly, we don't really know how big it is, right? But like, there's no reason why there can't be life elsewhere, right?
For sure.
However, I just find it very, very hard to believe, and even with this, that there's extraterrestrials here on Earth. I'm not. I don't know. I'm trying to say like
Well, this is like a
wouldn't
secret
say that
invasion situation where they're
it's not
blending in.
possible. But, like I'm not saying like I'm not saying it's not possible that they're here, but I just find it like very, very, very hard to believe that, as that just goes completely against my personal belief that I've held for a very, very long time. And I don't know.
What is your
still
reason
find it
that they
very
wouldn't come
unlikely.
visit us, though? What is your reason they wouldn't come visit us? This I have to hear.
I don't think there's a reason to why they wouldn't. I
have a reason.
don't find it plausible.
I want to hear Patrick's. I think I know what his reason is.
You look back at the history of all of humanity. If these creatures have been watching us as humankind, for the last few thousand years, they're gonna learn pretty quickly. Humans are assholes, and we will kill. So,
it's that whole Ninja Turtle Splinter thing.
We can be nice to each other, but ultimately, if you look at human history, humans ultimately have a pretty evil heart as a species. So,
I don't even think you have to even go that deep into it. I think I was thinking about this recently, and I think consider this, like, say an alien spacecraft was going to land, and they're like, oh, we see these humans, we need to go say hi to them. I think the big problem is, how would we know that whether they're there for peaceful purposes or not, right?
Yeah.
So the big thing is
South Park.
Yeah, but it could be
like, welcome aliens, and they're like, yay, and the guy steps off and he goes, everybody everybody on the ground.
So there's a few ways you could approach this, right? You could say, oh, well, an alien spacecraft's coming down. Let's see what they have to say. But then there's the other side of the coin where you could say, well, let's not give them the chance because it could be a bomb that they're sending down and they're going to terraform the planet. Right. So it's like, it's hard to say. And really who would be in charge of that would be whoever the government is that where they landed, right? Or whose airspace they go
the government.
into. And then I think that's really where the problem lies. It's not so much about human nature, where it's like I think it's a very cynical approach.
A big part of it, though.
Well, I think it's a very cynical approach to look at humans as a whole and say we're these evil creatures who just want to kill everything, right?
I'm just saying, if you look at the history of humankind, we've had a very bloody past.
Yeah, but I think, and
if you're looking at just that,
you have to look at it from.
There's a lot of good in the world, but
we've also come a long way too. The humans of today. Humans of today are not the humans of yesterday. Like I think that's.
I would also argue there's still a lot of evil in the world today. Too.
Oh, for sure. It's not
a lot of hate.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows by any stretch of the imagination, right? But I think you have to look at it from a non-cynical point of view. But that being said, it's like we know what certain governments are capable of. So I think that's where it's the reality of it sets in. Of like. Yeah, like we've seen what governments have done to their own citizens, their own kind. So it's like I totally get that, right?
Yeah.
So I think we really don't know what would happen in what way. So it's really tough to know how we would handle it. But then on top of that, who's to say that the alien? Then we're getting really into the into the weeds on this. It's like, well, who knows what the aliens, how they would perceive the situation, right? Because that's the other side of the coin. How intelligent?
Yeah, because we don't know their culture.
If they're smart enough, they could even say that could be the reason why we haven't seen more of them, right? And this is not a new idea.
They are smart enough because they can build the spacecraft.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They are smart enough because they have the technology, absolutely. And that's
so they could easily say after the 50s, they could have been like, or after the 40s even, they could have been like, with these kind of weapons, I think we're going to stay away. Or
exactly. And that's one of the things that was talked about in the hearings is that they're one of the guys, the main whistleblower who did the interview. The first interview said that there is a program that has been collecting UFOs for decades.
Yeah, I believe that.
I believe it too.
Well, that goes back to the whole Roswell thing, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Here's the question for you, Chris. And I guess the other guys too. As fellow redshirters, we're into science fiction and stuff, but mainly coming from the Star Trek background. Do you think we as humans have already had first contact with alien species? Like
no.
Face-to-face meeting?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I think these hearings, I was joking with Amber, maybe they'll see that we're having these hearings and be like, all right, maybe they're ready.
It's ultimately
which is kind of what in Star Trek happened in Star Trek. The Vulcans, you have to make first contact, what's his name? James Caan. I forget what the character's name was. Off the top of my head right now, figured out warp.
Oh, is that from Cochrane?
Yes, thank you, Zephyr Cochrane. Figured out warp, and he, the signature was picked up by the Vulcans, and the Vulcans came first contact.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we're technologically ready is part of the problem too.
Yeah, so it could be from that perspective.
Even though we're not technologically ready, if they were to come to Earth, whether it was in the Roswell times or up through modern days, you don't think at some point maybe there might have been at least one face-to-face interaction? Even though we can't communicate with each other quite yet?
In my opinion, I think it's entirely possible for sure. I don't know that
the government would clearly hide that if it did happen because generally humans understand other humans, and if they were to know that had already happened, I could understand why they'd want to cover that up.
Yeah, well, and that's the other aspect to it too.
Insane because that questions a lot of
here's the thing,
human
though, Patrick,
religion and stuff too.
Well, I mean, you could. That's a whole nother discussion. I think. I think you can be. You can still be religious and explain that away. But I think the other thing.
I think so.
The other part of it too is some people think that a lot of this information, and this is just a theory, people have been saying that this information has been coming out because the government is kind of gauging people's reactions, right? So they want to see how people are going to take it, and the response I think hasn't been as bad, I guess you could say, as what you might assume. You know, people aren't panicking.
It's been relatively positive.
Yeah, and people aren't panicking and in the streets and being like, you know, oh God, the end is near. You know, it hasn't been anything like that.
Now, I imagine after something like maybe around like 2001 with the terrorist attacks and stuff like that, where we're a little bit more on the defensive. I think if you would have tried this 20 years ago, I don't think it would have been as well received.
Probably would have been a different reaction.
That might have been why they waited, potentially too.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things to think about and theories and things like that. I think going back to your question, it's just it's entirely possible that they could have already made some type of visit at some point in human history, right? But it's like, for me personally, I haven't seen the evidence for me to believe that happened 100%, but I'm not counting it out either. You know, like if it happened, I wouldn't be surprised. If they're like, oh yeah, they were here 100 years ago, I would be like, yeah, fine. Like I totally can conceive of that happening. But it is what it is. It's just like it's you know, it either happened or it didn't. Until they come back again, it really means nothing, unless you're going down the ancient aliens route of being like, oh, you know,
they're
like,
living among us.
Well, there's a lot of people that have that theory that they influenced human civilization.
Well, the Stargate theory, essentially, where, you know, they're the gods are all aliens, or as Alex said, Goa'uld.
Yeah, that's
you know,
a lot of people have.
It's a huge theory among people.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And then we've seen it even in our fiction in Marvel and DC and things like that. So.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Secretly, Zeus is an alien up in space.
Well, yeah, all the ancient Egyptian. I mean, you watch Stargate SG-1, and you see all the different cultures Earth-based cultures represented, and they're gods, and they're essentially just parasite aliens that have taken human hosts.
Secretly, they're all the Q.
No, they're not though. You gotta watch Stargate. You're trying to mix franchises. Don't mix franchises, Patrick.
I know.
They're not Q. They're Goa'uld. They're actually little snaky-looking parasite aliens that go into your freaking neck and take over your brain.
Well, that reminds
so it's like
me
that little
of
ear thing from
Animorphs. Oh, I was thinking, did you guys ever read Animorphs?
I used to read Animorphs, yeah, way back in the day.
So in Animorphs, it was the aliens would crawl inside your ear, and that's how they would take over.
That's what he just said with the Wrath of Khan.
That's instantly what I thought of. Surprisingly, I thought of that before Wrath of Khan for some reason, but yeah.
But yeah, they definitely don't go in the ear. If anything, they go either in the back of the neck or right down the throat.
Or what was the one with the head crabs? What was that from? Half-Life?
Well, yeah, Half-Life also. I imagine they got that from Alien first. I don't know.
From Alien,
and I don't know who did it before them, because I imagine it's possible they could have been influenced by another
came out of a little elements of horror as well.
But yeah, that's a whole nother discussion there.
That's a discussion for another day.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think I don't know really if there's enough to even talk about further with that.
Talking about top tier futuristic technology, Gio, you love this next topic.
Oh yeah, so let's.
First.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, yeah, we are a little ahead.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
First,
I'm jumping ahead of myself.
You are. It's what are we playing right now? And I know we did our picks of the week, but only one of. Am I the only one that picked a game? I think. What did Patrick pick?
The one I did earlier, Call of Duty Black Ops. That's what I've been playing.
Is that no? But is that what you did as your pick of the week? What was your pick of the week?
My pick of the week was Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's right. There. Okay. Yes, that's right. Anyway, so yeah, Patrick, do your game.
Call of Duty Black Ops. So
lies.
Like
he's playing Flight Sim.
Oh no, I'm doing both. The only reason I didn't pick Flight Sim is because I would just be like, yeah, I'm still playing Flight Sim. Like you talk to me next week, I'm still playing Flight Sim.
Yeah, exactly.
check back next week. I might be playing Flight Sim. Stay tuned.
Just gonna step away for a moment, guys. I'll be right back.
You don't have to say. Just walk away.
Call of Duty Black Ops. What year was this? 2010. So I was a sophomore in high school when that came out, And it's so cool to go back and revisit my high school roots and play those old school classic Call of Duty games again. Haven't jumped back into story yet. I really want to go back and play that because I never got to play the original Black Ops 2. And everyone tells me the story of Black Ops 2 is fantastic. So I'm going to go back and go through the storyline of that. But when I heard the servers were fixed again on all the classic Call of Duty games and everybody was rushing, dude, the fans are bum rushing these servers again. You can literally pop in any Call of Duty disc into your console if you have the original copies, or just you can buy a digital copy on the store now because they're available on the storefront. Download that stuff. You can get a server in seconds. It is scary. And it's so funny though because it uses that old Xbox 360 emulation, and so like when you talk to your friends, it still sounds like you used to talk to them on Xbox Live with like the lower quality audio. So it's been fun. Like even though we're all on modern hardware now, you still hear the same people talking like this. Hey guys, let's go take base A.
Well, that
So-
might also be. Not everyone has a good headset, Patrick.
Not everybody, but as far as I've been able to tell, that's been the audio quality from everybody I've heard in the servers. So
Could
I'm thinking
also
that must have been something.
server games, the server quality. I mean, the
Server
bandwidth,
quality in those days.
the
But
bandwidth
yeah,
that they can.
apparently Activision, I guess, went back and found out there was some bug with their server system back in the day. They patched it for every single title, and they're like, "Here you go, guys, have fun."
Nice.
So pick any Call of Duty game you want, go back and try it, play some multiplayer. It is legit like taking a step back in time. It's so enjoyable.
I would laugh if it was a Microsoft engineer that fixed it.
It's possible.
You know, it's very possible.
then they can rub it in
all of a
Sony's
sudden,
face.
this whole deal's like, you know, in the works. All of a sudden, their servers are fixed. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
But yeah, man.
Yeah. So Call of Duty.
Pop a disc in. Yeah, any of the old Call of Duty games, the servers are all up and running.
Nice. I'm not really big into physical anymore, fortunately.
Yeah, like I said, all the games are all digital. You can go right on the Xbox storefront,
yep.
and they're all right now. They're all on sale, so they're
They
dumb
are,
cheap.
correct.
So go grab a cheap copy.
Yeah.
And I heard the PC servers got fixed too. So if you have any of the games on PC,
There you
play
go.
it on PC as well.
Steam. There we go. Eventually on Game Pass, probably. Anyway.
Probably coming soon. Maybe in October, November.
I'm playing a couple of things right now. Playing baseball, grinding some baseball still, but I think recently of what I played besides the Monkey Island. Yesterday, Spencer and I continued our journey in Gotham Knights, and
Oh wow, it's been a hot minute for you guys on that one.
Having a lot of fun with that. Yesterday we faced Clayface, and for the first time, and I will have to say I was very impressed, despite all like the little issues with the game and all the garbage trash talk that happened when the game first came out. I was very impressed with the Clayface missions we played, and how they designed Clayface. It was lots of fun. The game has a very good feel to it. The fact that you got open world Gotham multiplayer is very, very fun. It's got the Court of Owls story is always intriguing. I love the Court of Owls. It's something that we probably will be one of the next things we read for Comic Club, right, Spencer? And I'll segue Spencer on
definitely.
that one.
We're definitely looking into doing that soon on Comic Club. But as far as my main game I've been playing, I mean, there was Gotham Knights. We also were playing a little bit of a game called Tectonica, which is I mean, it's mainly like Satisfactory, but I guess like mix in some survival elements with something like, I don't know. It's like Satisfactory, but mix in, I feel like, some Deep Rock Galactic, and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah,
and so, but that's not my main thing I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of, since it started Thursday. Yeah, since it started Thursday, I've been playing a good bit of Diablo 4 on my own, because I've already recorded all the campaign stuff, and that's still coming out on Dingiston. But the seasonal content has started up, and I've been leveling up a druid on that to where I think I'm at like level 35 with it or something like that right now. and so I've been working through doing playing as a druid. So that's been what I've been spending majority of my time playing whenever I've been playing stuff. However, I haven't been playing a whole lot over the past few days because I was working really hard on something. And then I also started up another game a couple days ago that I'm going to be playing a bit more of, but that'll likely be the main thing I talk about next week.
Awesome.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, excited for that new comic club as well. That sounds great. Okay, so I guess I'll go into mine. I guess mainly what I've been playing recently is I went back to, well, I guess I never really left it, but Elden Ring, which now is it's been out for over a year. We're still waiting on the DLC, but what has me going back to it beyond just the insane replayability that's already there in the game is the mods. And there have been a lot of really exciting mods coming out for it the last few months. The one that's got me hooked right now is the first-person mod. So now, if you guys aren't familiar, Elden Ring's a third-person game, third-person action RPG. And when you go into the first-person mod, it gives you more of a feel of like a Skyrim or one of those type of games. And it really is, it provides like a whole new experience like that I wouldn't think that simply just changing the perspective would do. And I went into it, and it's really amazing going through. Like, one thing you can really appreciate is the visual fidelity of the game, just how beautiful the graphics are, the textures and everything. Because going into a first-person perspective, everything is well, not everything, but some things are a lot closer. So you would think, oh, you're going to be able to see a lot more flaws in the visuals of the game, but it hasn't really been my experience. So I've been really happy with trying that out in first person, and I noticed there's a whole bunch of things that I just missed because when you're in that third person perspective, your view is focused on different things. You're always looking for what's going to be around you, what's behind you, and then just being able to focus on what's in front of you, having that different perspective totally changes the game in a way that like I said, I just didn't think that you would get from just a simple perspective mod like that. So yeah, I've been going through the game like that. I recorded a clip already. I might consider doing some live streaming with that, so you guys can check it out as well. We'll see, but definitely I've got a few clips that I'll put out. One last night, which was pretty funny. So yeah, that's my pick of the week. But speaking of From Software, who's the developer of Elden Ring, there, like I mentioned, they do have some DLC on the way for that. But as a lot of us know by now, they have another game that's coming out in a few months, which is Armored Core 6. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know I've talked about this game in the past. What's interesting about it is they've released some new gameplay footage, I believe yesterday. So they released another 10 minutes of gameplay footage, and on top of that, I know they've given, I believe they've let a few select YouTubers and influencers, whatever you want to call them, they've allowed them to try out the game as well. And I've heard some rave reviews about this game. A lot of people are super excited about it. Now, you can see the tweet on the screen there. We got some of the key details that have come out about it, the length of the game, the environments, things like that. What I can say as far as a fan of the previous games, I've played like almost every single game in the series at this point, so I've have a pretty good gauge on what has been the kind of key features of each game. What I've seen in the footage of this one that's really interesting is it seems to have more of a focus on the bosses in the game. So in the previous games, any boss that you would fight essentially is just like another AC, which is another mech of your caliber. That was whenever you would fight something that's of your caliber, that's the boss. So in this game, what they're doing is you're fighting these huge, gigantic robots that are like multiple times your size. I think there's if you see the footage, there's at one point where you're fighting an entire ship that is like it looks like some kind of carrier or something. So you're getting these huge, elaborate boss fights that we haven't seen before in the series, and I think that's going to be exciting to play because it brings it from just a more of like a PvP style combat that you got in the last games to a more of a exciting kind of action feel to it. So I think the single player will really benefit from that. That's one of the main takeaways that I got from the new footage. But beyond that, I think one thing they mentioned in the tweet there is that PC has native 120 FPS support. I think that what that really tells us is that they're kind of putting more stock and more attention to the PC version of this game, which I think is really exciting. If you've played any of the Souls games in the past, like I think Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition is the perfect example where the PC port was just dreadful, and it took fan support to really make it playable. So that was 2011. So we're a far cry from that now, where they really understand the PC fan base and they're putting more support behind it. So that really makes me excited for this new game when that comes out in August. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything to add on that, because I know you guys may not have experience with that series at all, but
no, never really played a Armored Core game, but
yeah, no, I think they were like a PlayStation exclusive for a long time. So
I think
yeah, they have been
until like the Xbox 360. Yep. They had a couple titles.
Yeah,
but this is I think
I did play Mech Warrior back in the day.
Yeah,
so PC, I think back in the old days, similar but a little different.
If you're into giant robots, I think this is going to be a good jumping off point. It's like Armored Core 6. You're like, oh, I didn't play any of the other ones. This has nothing to do with any of those games. So if you have any interest in giant robots and customizing them, battling them, this could be something to check out if that's your thing.
Especially if it's a squad-based thing, and then the four of us can squad up, and stream for you all.
Well, I know that there definitely are missions where you get multiple team members. So cool. I don't know if.
Well, we'll have to look into it when it comes out for sure.
Absolutely,
or right before it comes out, get all the details. Yeah, exciting.
So
yeah, because I like Titanfall when it came out. I didn't play a ton of Titanfall 2. It's on Game Pass. But I did enjoy Titanfall's multiplayer, and that's giant robots. So I'll probably enjoy this, depending on the price point, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be a, like a Game Pass game, for example.
Probably not, no.
I don't see that being the case. At least not initially. Not initially.
And there's a bunch of good Game Pass games coming out, though. But one game that's not a Game Pass game that's on the horizon, probably 2020? Are we promised it in 2024?
That's what they're saying, but we'll see.
We'll see. Spencer, why don't you start this conversation off?
This one, we got more details on the upcoming Star Wars Outlaws game. Then this actually ties into some stuff that was actually details at Comic-Con. But there's just been some little bits and stuff that's been coming out over the last week about it that I feel like is at least worth bringing up. Such as, I believe it's the game director that was talking a lot about this.
Mm-hmm.
To where with any modern Ubisoft game nowadays, people are like, oh my gosh, it's a massive 203-hour giant mess, right? And then he responds saying, well, our objective, and this is his quote actually, is he says, our objective is to really get people into a very dense, rich adventure, open world adventure that can that they can explore at their own rhythm. And then he says, so it is absolutely not a 200 or 300 hour epic unfinishable RPG. This is a very focused action adventure RPG that will take people on a ride that is very manageable.
Well, and we already knew that this felt like more of an Uncharted style game than a open world RPG game. That's more Eclipse. I feel like that's going to be that open world RPG.
I don't know, because I
game.
feel like they've
hard to
promised
tell.
that this is a big open world. It feels like
It's supposed to be relatively huge open world. Yeah.
right. Well, and here's the thing though: is they're saying because the past concern was that they said each planet area is like massive, like 2 to 3 times the size
Valhalla
of Odyssey.
size. Yeah, that's
Odyssey
right.
is what they said.
Oh, Odyssey. That's right. It
And-
was Odyssey. That's right.
I don't know how big those two maps are. I'd imagine they're similar in scale though.
Yeah.
But beside the point though, what those games don't have is fast moving vehicles, right? And also the other thing is too is most Star Wars planets, kind of like Starfield in a very much sense, is a lot of it's barren, right? So like so much of it's just going to be empty as well.
population is in one.
It's not going to be because
central
the thing with
location, yeah.
Assassin's Creed is they take a real world environment, but they like what's the word? They put it more in a one condensed area.
They condense like the Middle East and North
condense
Africa. It's like the Mediterranean area, like in Odyssey. Yes, they condense North Africa.
They condense the area. They scale it
Greece
all
and
down
stuff.
accordingly,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And so we'll see what they do with Star Wars at least. But I think it's still important to keep in mind that there's all those vehicles and stuff. I know there's other stuff mentioned as well, such as players can explore multiple worlds. We already knew that. Navigate politics of the crime syndicates. Love that's a crime syndicate story set in between episodes 5 and 6. Already knew that. However, what was new is saying that you can take missions from Jabba the Hutt, and then you could just straight up betray him. Whereupon the famously vengeful Hunt will send out the bounty hunters. So that'll also be really cool. Be really cool to potentially see bounty hunters from that gallery of bounty hunters, right? From Empire Strikes Back.
Could be like Jedi too. Like how they have bounty hunters around the map and you just kind of encounter them.
I'm really that's true too.
And they're saying that Tatooine will be fully explorable. Which
I believe it.
Tatooine's going to be a huge detail.
So think about all the towns that we know about: Anchorhead, Mos Eisley, Mos
Eisley.
I haven't heard of Obi-Wan's hut.
I haven't. That'll be an Easter egg.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard about it being fully explorable, but I do know
that's what this article says. This article says that it's
maybe within the play world, they're going to maybe include
the Tatooine section.
But I don't know full scale.
I'm not going to play this video, obviously, but
crafting a fully explorable Tatooine is what that says. So yeah, we'll have to definitely watch that and get the details.
That depends on what they mean. Yeah.
Right. And so I do find interesting though is if they were going to send out other famous bounty hunters, is during the same time frame we actually see a lot of these famous bounty hunters that's set in a story at the same time of the actually literally called Star Wars Bounty Hunters, the current one of the current ongoing Star Wars comic series.
Yep.
And so it'd be very interesting to see how they may try to tie everything together. Like if it's going to be part of me wonders if they're going to try to make this set to be where it's set later on in between episodes 5 and 6, so it could maybe eventually tie into the comics at some point or something.
I see a quote though that's very contradictory to this whole idea of it's not going to be this huge, massive open world. I think our job is to make sure the player organizes their experience according to their desires. That's one of the big pluses with an open world game is the agency of the player. So if we do our job right, it'll be so dense and so rich with different distractions that we won't have to rely on so many UI indications for them. In other words, you're going to get so distracted that it will become a 300-hour game.
That's the hilarious thing I find about this is people like talk about the Ubisoft being that long when they aren't that long ever.
No, but you can just get lost in the world.
You could.
That's part of it.
Definitely could.
That's part of it. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. Like, they say that it's not going to be, but then at the same time, they're talking about how massive the areas are going to be. So it's like, okay.
How
I think,
I think it's kind of interesting when they mention the UI distractions in particular, because you got a lot of open world games where it becomes a situation where you're just going from the next waypoint to the next waypoint. So maybe that's what they're trying to avoid in that case, just a whole bunch of things on your radar or whatever. But I do think that this could be, at least in part, a response to some of the open world games we've seen over the past few years, where it's you get a lot of people who aren't finishing these games, and part of that is because you get like a Zelda, for example, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where you have an absurd amount of collectibles and things like that, and people are like feel overwhelmed by it, and that can kind of turn people off and potentially. So I think that may be a reason why they said that. I think they do, reading the article, they do get into it a bit more, like with the past games, right? But I feel like that could be partially a reason why too, is trying to get people to be like, hey, you can come into this game and play it for the story, and you're not going to be bogged down by just an absurdly long adventure that you won't be able to finish. That's what I took away from it anyway.
Yeah. And what I've seen from the EA Star Wars games so far up to this point is that they leave enough of the main story. If you just want to play the main story, you can still, tunnel your way through the main story, do a few side quests here and there if you want to. But I think what Massive's going to probably try to do is include a ridiculous amount of side quests if you so choose to do that, or challenges and stuff. And Spencer, tell me if I'm wrong. Did Jedi Survivor kind of delve into that a little bit, where they give you like side objectives or anything?
Yeah, they definitely give you side objectives. It's very much like Fallen Order, but they definitely do. It opens up the areas a bit more, right? You get fewer amount of planets, but the areas are more open, and there is a whole like bounty hunter quest line, and all that. But yeah, there's a good bit of stuff.
So yeah, there's the potential for, if you just want to play and breeze through the main storyline, I'm sure the developers will find a way for you to do that. If you just want to bust through and you don't care about all the extra stuff, if you're just a Star Wars fan focused on just the main story, you can do that. I'm almost certain, just in terms of canon and how they've, the direction they've gone, with the games the past few years, whether it's, Battlefront 2 or Squadrons or Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. You can do it however you want. Battlefront 2 was pretty linear. I think that was the only one of those. No, I guess Squadrons was
Squadrons, yeah, Squadrons. I still haven't beaten Squadrons. I got like
Squadrons
stuck on
is
a
so
mission.
much fun. I need to go back and play that. That game was fun.
I do too, especially now that I have the flight stick. It's crossplay, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it
so
is
we could all play.
crossplay.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass. Yeah, we could all play that together.
Be in VR.
Yeah, and Spencer in VR.
They had VR, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll definitely play some of that.
I just need space on my laptop again.
Yeah, you could do it on your Xbox.
And what was cool about Squadrons,
I can't do VR on Xbox.
Oh, right.
It's
VR,
set right at the end of the Galactic Civil War, like right at the end of Return of the Jedi, like around the same time as like roughly Battlefront 2. But there's a few parts of that take place, earlier in the war, around A New Hope and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, if you really want to delve kind of like back into that like original trilogy sort of vibe, yeah, go back and play the Battlefront 2 campaign, play Squadrons, and then when this new game comes out, you're just gonna be vibing on that OT vibe.
Yeah, I just hope this new game pulls it off and has a good mix of Uncharted and Star Wars, because I love the Uncharted games, at least the first three. A lot of people say 4 is the best, and that's the one I started playing and just stopped playing.
Because you had already gotten your fill from the first 3, probably.
Yeah, because I pretty much played them all back to back. But but I loved the first 3 Uncharted I played through. I'll eventually get to Uncharted 4. I bought the upgrade and never touched it, so
I still
I'll
need
get
to
around
play
to it
them.
sometime.
I think they gave them away on Epic at one point or something, didn't they?
I thought only like 4 was ever on PC, and the Lost Legacy. Yeah. But anyway, besides the point, Uncharted and Star Wars, it could be an awesome mix if they pull it off right. Ubisoft knows how to do solid open world games. I think people do drastically, what's the word? Put it out of proportion as to how much there is into it. Like, yeah, there's going to be repetitiveness, but let's be honest, that's any freaking open world game, right? And so, just because it's big by scale, right? And so, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to what we could get from a proper open world Star Wars game.
I'm just ready to explore. That's what I'm really looking forward
Give
to.
us a
Yeah.
proper open world Star Wars
Well,
game.
Like,
if we really want
the
to do
story
that,
will be fun too, but like exploring is gonna be like a whole. It's gonna be like Starfield. It's gonna be like getting you out there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah,
Speaking
that's
of,
really good. I can't wait.
Those two games are really big for that reason.
yeah, the Star Wars one is going to be great. Flying around in a if it's does the ship flying like Starfield, and you have to like take off from the
Yeah, you still have to take off. I think there is a little bit of a transition of the whole ground to space thing. You go through I think from what I've been seeing in the previews is you go through clouds and then all of a sudden you pop out and you're in space. So there's a little bit of a loading transition.
You talking about for Starfield or Outlaws?
No, for the new game for Hunter or for
Outlaws. Okay.
Outlaws.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're
as
very
you're
smart
going
with making these loading screens look like they're part of the
Transitions,
game.
yeah. So-
Right?
Yep.
And it's really cool, right?
Gotham
and
Knights
I feel
does
like
it now. Did it with the whatchamacallit, the teleporting, the fast travel. It's kind of like that.
They're really
Oh,
smart. They're
yeah,
really smart
yeah.
of hiding those the loading screens.
Yeah, I mean, the first time that a little bit of a tangent, but the first time that stood out to me was in God of War 2018, was where anytime you literally teleport to another part of the world, you go into this like in between dimension as you like go around in a circle for like 30 seconds, and then it'll open up a gateway. So it still keeps the whole one-shot camera the entire time.
That's great.
I remember seeing it in Jedi Fallen Order sometimes when you like took the turbo lifts, like certain turbo lifts in the game. You'd see it like glitch for like a half a second.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, yep, that elevator was a loading screen.
But yeah.
So even in Star Wars, they do it.
They do it in lots of games these days. It's part of the
it's just game
cinematic.
development. It helps.
It's the time to action is what it is. You want to make that
Yeah,
time to action as low as possible.
That it's really shown of like where it's at in some of the games. I was showing stuff seeing about how another bit of a tangent, but I believe it's today that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart came out on
PC.
Steam.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
I'm seeing about how a lot of PCs are struggling to handle it with its transitions, at least to where you can see it stuttering a bit while it's going through all that crazy portal action.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's crazy to just see how quickly what's meant to be a loading screen they do it like in a snap. It's insane what how they're able to optimize it on PS5. That's crazy.
But that makes me want to get it and test it on my rig.
I saw somebody running. I don't know the full details, but I saw a clip of somebody saying this was on like a 4090, and it was still, it was stuttering. Not large bit, but
still
tiny
any
bit.
stuttering at all. But that's also RAM. That's also RAM because I feel like
PS5 doesn't have that much RAM though either.
That's true. It's a good point.
I think the biggest thing, honestly, is the optimization of it.
We've always talked about.
Who knows who's doing this?
We've talked about that. The optimization.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. We've talked about optimization.
But yeah, that's a whole other convo.
Yeah,
so,
the game was originally made for
on.
console, and now it's ported.
Yeah, we'll just carry on.
But speaking of Star Wars, why don't Spencer? We got something fun to talk about.
Yeah,
quickly.
Star Wars. Something I just want to really quickly bring up is since I do enjoy collecting a lot of Star Wars figures, not particularly this kind, as it deals with the vintage collection. Since I usually collect more Black Series stuff, but this one. It's a new HasLab that is from Hasbro that has actually gotten funded. This one is the Ghost Ship from Star Wars Rebels, and it is completely funded now. Backers are still being accepted until sometime next month. The more backers, the more figures you then get with it.
Oh,
and so that's how their whole goal of it.
Price?
It's a very juicy $500 for that. Which is insane, very pricey.
Ouch.
Right. And so, however, this is pretty significant though, because this is a Star Wars HasLab that got funded. The last couple HasLabs has not gotten funded, partly because of poor mismanagement. The first one was one that I would love to have was a Rancor sized with the Black Series. And so that would have been in the same size as what I usually collect. And so I would have loved to have a freaking Rancor, but they poorly mismanaged that, and they pretty much gave like a big middle finger to the fans of like what they were asking for in that project.
It was
and then
stupid expensive, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3 something, I want to say 350,
300, 350, yeah. It
I
was
wa- I
stupid
want to say.
expensive. They could have
all
made that
these HasLabs are really expensive, right?
They're
That's
really
the thing.
expensive. They could have made it way more affordable. I think closer to that 150 price point.
I
I'm
don't
wondering
think
how
it
much
should
of
have
that
been.
how much that cost was price point or the packaging. You know,
the biggest thing to me is I feel like it's really telling to where a little bit of a side combo, but like Hasbro with them price gouging some certain things,
they do
trying to
a
get
lot
as
of
much.
things. Yeah,
I think it really shows to where you're seeing the competitor McFarlane do all these other like vehicles, but they don't cost nearly as much as like what Hasbro is asking for, right?
I'm wondering if they're trying to go like the Sideshow route a little bit. Like they think they got a premium product like Sideshow.
Well, here's the thing, right? I think the perfect example to show with this that puts Hasbro on a very bad light is that I've shown you all about that Batman 89 Amazon collectible I ordered, right? With the Michael Keaton and that Batmobile price point at $75. The last Marvel HasLab, I believe, and I don't remember if it funded or not. I want to say it didn't. Was one where you have Ghost Rider in it with that car. Who's that newer Ghost Rider?
Nicholas Cage.
Robbie Reyes.
Robbie Reyes. Thank you. To where he's in the car, but
he's got the muscle car instead of the bike.
But it's just another vehicle, right? That didn't have anything too special in it, and they were asking multiple hundreds for it, right? So whenever you see that big price difference, it's like, sure, you're not getting as much, maybe some detail with that Batmobile, right? But like 75 versus multiple hundreds is a massive gap.
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
And so, but anyway, but the significance behind this one, and then the other HasLab that just failed last year was they were trying to do they do Black Series scale replicas of lightsabers, and they were trying to do a Reva Inquisitor lightsaber, and that failed.
Because she ended up being a not very popular character.
Nope.
Well, here's the thing: is Inquisitor lightsabers. What Star Wars fan, if they had the money, wouldn't want one, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's true, but the fact
saying
they
it as
slapped
Reva.
the name on it.
You should have just said Inquisitor lightsaber. Yeah.
They said the Grand Inquisitor, like the Jason Isaacs Grand Inquisitor. Everyone would buy that one.
I also don't think that the amount of people they're asking for necessarily has that high demand for something like that. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Demand, no.
But anyway, point is the ghost ship that people have been wanting, a vintage collection is here. It got funded. As there gets more backers, you get more members of the Ghost crew added on, which have never gotten vintage collection figures before. And so awesome for all the collectors like myself, although I don't necessarily collect vintage collection. I do here and there, but finally having some Rebels characters also in vintage collection is awesome to see. And so awesome, big deal in the Star Wars collecting world that I keep up with.
And of course, perfect timing because it's right before Ahsoka, and we're getting the Ghost back in Ahsoka.
Exactly.
Next month, guys.
Exactly, and this is gonna. I mean, speaking of toys and nerdy stuff, Comic-Con just happened. San Diego.
Lots of stuff.
Comic-Con San Diego just happened.
That happened here.
Yeah,
right?
Spencer, I'm gonna let you lead this conversation so we can get through it. Because since you know what I'm looking at this Walking Dead game. I'm now intrigued. Actually, I didn't see
I actually didn't completely watch that, mainly just because it's a social deduction game, and it's like
deception.
We just get so many of those
one
recently.
of those. Yeah, but that's why I'm like, it's in the Walking Dead. Anyway, start somewhere. I guess we'll start with
somewhere.
That. All right, I guess we'll start with that.
Yeah, so Walking Dead is getting Walking Dead Betrayal, a new game from Skybound. I gotta say, Skybound had a massive show at San Diego Comic-Con this year. I gotta say, they probably stole the show this year, honestly. But we'll go back to more Skybound stuff in a bit. But Skybound has been expanding with several things, including games now, to where we got this social deception survival game set in the Walking Dead universe, which could be interesting. And we get a closed beta August 10th on PC, so we'll check it out.
Yeah, here I just requested access to it. I'll pull it up on
Shoot me a link to that, and I will request access as well. Maybe we can talk about it, because this I don't know. Depending on would that be something we're allowed to stream at all?
I have no clue. We'd find out if we get accepted. Yep.
We will.
But yeah, here's.
Now, did you mention earlier, Spencer, that you had the you have a video out on Dingus Den in regards to the Comic-Con?
Well, yeah, we were
yes,
gonna.
Yes, I do. We'll get into that.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. We'll get to that in just a bit. Yeah.
But here is the
lots
game.
Of
yeah. Oh, it's interesting looking. It's very like cartoony.
It is. Well, that's the thing. How the more comics kind of look like in a way ish.
True.
It does seem kind of interesting. I don't know. It could be cool. We'll see how it turns out once I see more gameplay.
Exactly.
I don't know. Just this massive thing of so many different social deduction games over the last year.
Crafting
I do notice
cooking,
though, something I noticed right offhand is, do you say that it says in the description it says 5 to 8 players, which I find interesting, because I feel like that's a higher amount of players that they ask for than usual to at least begin off with.
Yeah,
game,
usually
right?
you could do 2 in a lot of them. They let you do 2.
No, not 2, but like 3.
I know, but like they let
3
you
usually.
do. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's usually 3 because you have to have the like an evil, for example.
So I do find that interesting. Right, because you have to have an evil, 2 good guys. There's always a chance the good guys could easily call. Yeah.
I find it interesting. Yes. Like I like the concept of like releasing walkers on people and stuff like this. So that's kind of cool. Interesting. So cool.
Yeah, I mean, it has an interesting idea. So we'll see how it turns out.
Yep. All right, what's next on your list, Spencer, to talk about?
Hey, wait. Oh, what else here? Also from Skybound. Connected to Skybound is Invincible. Had a huge presence. We got a new poster. We got a trailer for Invincible Season 2. And we got a whole new episode of Invincible Surprise Drop 2. Has anyone here watched Invincible?
I just watched the new one last night, actually.
I have not caught up. I watched like a first couple of episodes of the first season.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. I gotta say, Invincible.
Much, but...
I won't spoil much, but Invincible, I think, is one of the best comic book shows. I don't know if I can say it's the best, but it is up there among the best, and I absolutely loved that first season. And I'll admit, I haven't watched the trailer to season 2 yet, but I think at this point I may just try to go in blind, unless if I just randomly find it playing somewhere. But
that's what I'm gonna do.
But at the same time, I plan on reading the comics, so it's like, is it really going in blind? But anyway, as far as what to expect from the show itself and not the comics, because I hear the comics do differentiate a bit, but it's one of those to where all the changes in the show makes a lot of sense, so they don't just change it to be, changes.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, Invincible had a huge presence. And that new episode, I thought that was a pretty solid singular episode. It showed the whole premise of the episode is that's the origin of Adam Eve, one of the main characters of the show. Seeing her whole origin was nice. It was nice to have just a little bit of Invincible back. I didn't realize how much I missed Invincible. I remember when Invincible came out. It came out during the time of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and like everybody was so much more excited for that. And I was like, yeah, but there's this show that's better. And then everybody saw where Falcon and Winter Soldier went, and then people were like, well, you might have had a point.
No, Invincible was definitely I think if anybody didn't see it and they're like, oh well, it's an animated show. If you like The Boys, is a good example.
It's like The Boys, but done way better.
Yeah, it's like that. It's I guess it's a realistic adult take on superheroes, right? So
yeah, and what I love more about Invincible than The Boys is the fact that it feels comic-y to its core, right? You'd have these adult themes in it, but like, is it literally the first episode where it's literally all about these alien invasions? Like, it's so comical as to how it feels the entire time.
That's a good point.
I love it. And
it does.
And it's great animation too.
Yeah, it definitely has a more traditional comic feel. That's a good point. I'm definitely excited about the new season, and this episode definitely has hyped me up more. But oddly enough, I actually didn't really. How do I put this? I enjoyed it, but I didn't like what they did to Adam Eve's character in this. I'll put it that way. So, like, without giving away any spoilers, the actions and the decisions that she makes,
I think
in my
that's
opinion, it doesn't paint her in a good light, and it kind of. I have to go back and rewatch the first season again because I don't remember her being that kind of character, or maybe. And I guess in a sense, it's growth, right? Because how she was back then as a child isn't necessarily how she is as an adult. But I didn't really like how they portrayed her as a younger character. But it is all about her going through, it's her origin story, right? So it is what it is. Yeah. But I loved that it was more Invincible. I loved the art style. I loved the voice acting. It made me hyped for season 2, even though even with what I didn't like about it. So it's like it did its job for sure. And I think if you liked season 1, it's like you should absolutely watch the Adam Eve special as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's interesting. So you can collect Invincible if you were to actually go out and buy it physically or digitally. You can buy. There's 3 compendiums out that'll collect like all 100. However many there is. I think it goes up to 140 something. Does that sound right? I think
not even sure. 140
something issues. And but anyway, not included in those 3 compendiums. That includes like all of the base run. There is another trade out there that collects a couple of like spinoffs, and one of those spinoffs is the Adam Eve origin. That's and so this episode was actually based off of a 2-issue like special miniseries.
Oh, wow.
In addition, and but I did notice that this one that was lower rated by like a whole star and a half of user ratings compared to the main Invincible series, and so
one thing
definitely could have taken a lot from that,
Yeah, I think what I found interesting is it might have had to do with the fact that I watched the Legion of Superheroes. I'd watched that almost right before I went to the Invincible. So, that had its issues with the story as well. But one thing I really liked about that is the character arc that they gave to Supergirl in that movie. I was really pleased with how they did that. And so going into that, there was definitely a difference with how they did the Adam Eve origin story. So I think that might have colored my opinion on it a bit. But that being said, I enjoyed both of them. So, it is what it is, I guess.
All right. Invincible had a huge showing. Also related with Invincible is we got our official roster reveal of, even though it was already leaked.
It was leaked, but we got it confirmed now.
We got it confirmed, and we can see them all there, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's nice to have that picture of them all there.
Yeah,
of seeing
it's a video,
the DLC characters. We have of Mortal Kombat 1. We have 3 original characters that's coming back. I don't know Mortal Kombat lore that much, but the big 3 side characters are exciting because one of those is Omni-Man.
But you can't see his face. There's a plus here if I press. No, I'm not even gonna. Yes, I'm older than. See if I'm gonna mute it. See if I can get to the. Oh, there he is.
Are you 18, Chris?
There. Nope. And.
Should have grabbed a picture for you.
Yeah, I thought this was a great picture to see both Omni-Man and Homelander together there. Like that's gonna that's I don't even. I think it doesn't really make sense on one sense for them to even be in Mortal Kombat. But that being said, I think that'd be fun as hell to play. That. Yeah, that would be a fun battle to play, the 2 of them.
Biggest thing I just find interesting is that I feel like whenever you compare the powers and who the characters are, kind of in general, of Omni-Man and Homelander, they're very close to each other, right? They're both essentially evil takes on Superman.
Yes.
So I'm very interested in seeing how they're going to make the 2 characters feel different in this game.
That's a good point as far as their actual gameplay is concerned, because they have similar powers even, right? So it's...
I imagine they're going to make Omni-Man be like a very heavy Superman-like character. And I'd imagine Homelander, he's going to be not necessarily a light character, but closer to a medium weight character with maybe do some like more faster moving abilities like like what Supergirl has in Injustice 2.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see for sure how they handle both of their move sets and everything.
Very interested in seeing, especially Omni-Man, because if they're going to go with a more heavier Superman-like character, we haven't really seen that.
But, yeah, and that's more what we see in the show when we see his fighting style is not always the most graceful, right? He definitely uses his power to his advantage.
Oh my gosh. You know what they need? You remember that one meme where he's like holding Mark, right? That one where you know what I mean? There's that one.
Use that as one of his finishers or something.
Yeah, use that as a fatality where he just kills him right at the end after holding him like that.
That's funny. Yeah, that might be disappointing if they don't do that. So
I just thought of that. I was like, that'd be amazing. And then the other side character is Peacemaker there, which I think is fantastic. Like having like Johnny Cage and Peacemaker together, I think that's great.
the John Cena likeness, it looks like even.
Yeah. It's very interesting because John Cena has made Peacemaker a relevant character now. And I guess we kind of lightly touched this on Crisis, but not whenever we did Comic Club on Crisis, when Infinite Earths on Dingiston, we have first 2 parts out now, is the fact that you do see Peacemaker in it, and Peacemaker is very prominent actually during that time period, to where he has his whole own miniseries, and Vigilante has his whole own series, and it's Vigilante went on for like a while, but way more prominent character, and so it's cool to see that character be brought back in this modern day.
We also saw Peacemaker in the one we just recently recorded.
Oh yeah, we did. Find out more in probably a couple weeks.
Yeah. Speaking of that, is there any other non-comic related Comic-Con stuff that really?
Let me look. We did get. I didn't watch it, but there was a trailer for the Boys spinoff, Gen V or Gen 5.
Oh, yep. Gen V. Yep. Gen V.
I didn't watch it. Watch it. Did any of you watch it?
No. Okay. I haven't finished the Boys yet either. So.
Yeah, I didn't. I just saw the poster. That's all I saw.
And then there's a
Borderlands movie got a release date, August 9th next year. Okay. That movie's going to be an absolute dumpster fire.
Hey, whatever. It's being funny. Hopefully.
We also got a date for Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake. Okay, don't care. Let's see here. Anything else here? Yeah, I'll find it interesting. We got a trailer for Harley Quinn season 4, our first trailer for it. In the last week, and that show premieres in 3 hours, season 4 of Harley Quinn. So that was a pretty late trailer we got. Nickelodeon acquired the rights to the original 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series.
Yeah, I was almost going to bring that up earlier, but I guess it makes more sense in they announced it at Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because if it's just the rights to the shows themselves, then it's just like, what are they going to do? Show them on
Nickelodeon now?
Yeah, or something.
I mean, that could be cool, having the like Saturday morning cartoons and have that on there.
Hey, I'd be down for that.
Right?
I miss Saturday morning cartoons.
I think a great idea would be, especially once I get my internet back, I'd love to host like little like Saturday mornings.
I'm down.
Like play a few episodes of different stuff. Like I love so many of the older 80s cartoons and 90s stuff. It's like there's so many great series out there.
Take me back to childhood. Yes.
But yeah.
That's that. So as far as comic book stuff though, we don't really need to go over it. But why is that, Spencer?
Why is that?
Why is that? Why don't we need to go over it? What can the people do to learn about all the different comic book stuff that was announced at Comic-Con?
Well, you don't need to know. We don't necessarily need to go over all that now, because I spent, starting Saturday night, and pretty much a lot of time since then, making this video talking about all the big comic reveals from San Diego Comic-Con that came out. I spent a lot of time on this video, so please check it out, as I put in a lot of work to this video. And so I covered pretty much everything I could find. Thing is, in the world of comic news, is I find that even the publishers themselves aren't that great with necessarily sharing everything they announced, and so it's definitely very interesting as saying like what publishers were and weren't great with sharing all their comic news. But yeah, I spent so much time making this, and I covered absolutely everything I could find, covering a lot of big comic news, beginning with the Energon universe. Find out what that is at the very beginning of the video. Cover over to some image news, and then went over a bit of Dark Horse, and then IDW. Went over a couple other things that didn't really fit into any of those categories. Something I found out about that I didn't even know was a thing coming was that Jamie Lee Curtis has her own horror graphic novel coming out next month. And then, of course, I covered all the big stuff that's coming out from Marvel and DC as well.
Awesome. Well,
yeah. I was watching that a little bit earlier, and it's one of the most in-depth videos that I've seen floating around. Like, I haven't seen a few more that are more in-depth than that. So.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. I watched it so I could know what was everything. I'm excited for Robot Hellboy. That's all I'm going to say.
It's very interesting. I saw that title, and it's made me think it was something that it wasn't.
Yes,
and
agreed.
And so actually hearing that description,
if you want to know more about Robot Hellboy, go watch that video.
Yeah.
The link is
I just
you can see. Yeah, but if you're watching on the replay, you can see it on the stream too. So go copy it down. Pause the video replay.
Right.
And write that link down. You can
be in the description below and all that stuff.
Yeah,
too.
And you just saw where it was on Dingus Den and everything. So
yes,
go check it out.
Just go first video on the Dingus Den. So much, a lot of stuff put into that one. And I do hope that's something that kind of content I may continue as well, especially once I get into the swing of making it more, and maybe do something more frequent. I don't know, at least covering some of the more bigger ones at least. Just because, there's so many different comics that come out and whatnot. But yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I do find it very nice because I haven't found anywhere that listed at least all that stuff together in one thing.
Agreed.
That's the thing is I went through a lot of different sources trying to find all that different information. And there's a lot in there.
You send it to John, and John writes an article around it, but uses your video in the article.
There you go.
And you'll get all the views for it. So that's what you should do.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Get hired at Nerd Reactor.
No, don't. He won't pay you.
Roll out. Shout out to John at Nerd Reactor.
Shout out to John at Nerd Reactor. Go check it out.
It's great stuff.
Speaking
of Nerd Reactor, he was. I saw on my YouTube feed earlier today that he had some interview stuff with
Ninja Turtle
people that made Ninja Turtles, including the director. He did a video yesterday.
Yep.
And so lots of cool Ninja Turtles related interviews. Go check it out.
Go check out
Nerd Reactor.
Nerd Reactor. So we definitely didn't go over everything we wanted to because we talk a lot.
We talk way too much.
So
that's a good thing.
I will say.
We learned we had no shortage of topics today.
No, and that's the thing. Patrick, beforehand, do we have enough topics?
Well, yeah, I didn't know how fast we were gonna. I didn't know how fast we were gonna breeze through them.
This week's pretty big. I think this will be very helpful with scheduling other future episodes.
Agreed. We understand,
especially figuring out which one's bigger or not.
How many?
There's definitely some other notable things from Comic-Con that came out that would have been worth mentioning.
Well,
but,
and there's other interests that we have that we like. I wanted to talk a little about sports. I'm just gonna breeze over the two things that I was gonna talk about. Shohei Ohtani is off the market. He's not being traded. The Orioles were in the sweepstakes, but then later tonight they announced that they are not trading Shohei Ohtani. So no showtime in both. He's staying in Anaheim. The Angels are buying. They are buying at the trade deadline. So this is going to be an interesting trade deadline, folks, coming up next week. Also, the Redskins are officially sold, and I'm going to say the Redskins because Josh Harris's group, including Magic Johnson, has used the Redskins name multiple times. The Commander's name is not trademarked possibly, so there is a chance that the name is changing again, and there is a chance it could go back to Redskins.
Whoa.
The last thing I do want to say, totally not sports related, is rest in peace, Sinead O'Connor. And I'm done.
Rest in peace.
And other than that, this has been really fucking awesome podcast. We had our little emotional times, ups and downs of getting heated about things, and but not at each other, just about the topics, which was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wait till next week.
This was a great.
next week.
Great.
Fight Club next week.
Oh,
No,
boy.
just-
And this was a great first Rambling Red Shirts, and I'll pass it on to whoever wants to do their sign off next.
Don't go all at once, everybody.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
All right, fine. I'll just go ahead. Okay.
That's
No. All right. Yeah. A great first episode. I appreciate anybody that has stopped by at any moment. And lots of fun discussions as always. Looking forward to doing more of these and bring out more Red Shirts content as we have a lot more planned. Stick around, find out. And if you want to see what's more to come from at least me, check out the Dingus Den on YouTube, where I do my solo gaming stuff. I've been still posting some Diablo 4 stuff. I have all of it recorded as far as the campaign goes, and just need to release it all. And then there's that big new comic video. Go check it out. To where like we were talking about, all the big comic reveals all in one place there, which I have not seen at least any article do. So, and that's all.
Some crazy guy in Kentucky is doing better content than the people on the ground of San Diego.
Crazy, yeah. It took so long to gather all of that.
It does for that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It took so long, but yes.
If you're at Comic-Con International and somebody sees one of his videos, please get that man to San Diego next year, because he is doing a bang-up job.
Oh.
We need Spencer on the ground.
Oh, I love it. I mean, they had some awesome announcements this year. My favorite one, and I'll just go ahead and say it because it's just been freaking blowing up, is the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, which just looks absolutely amazing. I love a good comic book crossover. My favorite comic book crossover of all time is Batman versus TMNT, and so they did a great job with that, and a great job with the movie. And so I'm really looking forward to see what they're going to do with Justice League and different kaijus all together. And the previews also show like a modified version of like what's that evil cyborg's character name? What's his name?
In what?
Come on.
In DC?
Evil cyborg in DC. Yeah, he's
Red
like
Tornado?
Grim? No. Green evil.
Yeah.
Cyborg. Whatever his name is.
I know who you're talking about. Dang it.
Whatever his name is, there's like an evil version of that of like Kong, and so it's really cool. They're like mashing together those mythos and having all sorts of big villains in it, and so it looks like an awesome crossover. Can't wait for it. Among with so many other comic series and stuff that I didn't even know was coming. So check it out.
Grid.
That's it.
That's his name. Yeah, that's right.
I know. I kept on thinking Grim, and I was like, I know it starts with a G, but that's
Grid.
not it.
That's right. Oh man. Yeah, here's that. Here's to a cool crossover there. I love crossovers. I do. Speaking of, I just watched speaking of crossovers, the Doom that came to Gotham, which was a fantastic like HP Lovecraft.
I really want to watch.
But you said you want to read it first.
I was about to say I want to read it first.
So
I need to get
I'll read the comic
it.
after. Now that I've watched it, I'll definitely read the comic. But the HP Lovecraft Batman combo was really, really cool. Really interesting.
Awesome.
How they
That's
did
awesome.
it. Yeah. So, Patrick, what do you have to say to the people?
I want to say thanks to all of my friends for showing up in the chat.
Yeah. We got
thank you guys for following. Ninja, you amazing asshole. Thank you for getting us to 50 followers. Really love that guy. He's always playing games with me and Spencer. Really, really cool, down-to-earth guy. So thank you so much, Ninja. We really appreciate it. You can't believe like how much that means to helping get this channel moving forward. That is a very big deal. But if you guys want to see my content, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Ganon136. Or as tonight, I was live tweeting this entire event. So if you missed any of the topics, go to our Red Shirts Remastered Twitter page. I have the entire thread, start to finish, everything we talked about tonight, all listed there. And you can find me playing Call of Duty Black Ops. and Flight Simulator. And as a reference to our thing the other night that did not make the cut, I don't think. Maybe it did. No, it did.
What?
On our review of was it Encanto?
Yeah.
No, I think it was Pitch Perfect. I will be watching Zack and Miri make a porno.
Was Pitch Perfect. Elizabeth Banks. Yeah.
I was gonna say it better not be
Yeah, it was
Encanto.
Pitch
That would be
Perfect. It was
awkward.
Pitch Perfect.
Say, it was Pitch Perfect.
It was Pitch Perfect because Elizabeth Banks. So.
You know what makes Encanto better? Zack and Miri make a porno.
Cool. Gio, take us away. Get us out of here.
Yes, thanks once again to everybody who showed up for the stream. Appreciate the follows. Reaching that milestone of 50 is big. Can't express my gratitude. So that's awesome. This was a great first episode. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys come back and watch again for the next one. As far as myself, aside from this channel here, if you do want to follow my personal channels, I'm on YouTube at Geo the Sage and Twitch at Geo the Sage as well. You can find me there. But yeah, that's about it.
There we
Thank
go.
you so much
Yeah.
for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye, everybody. We're rambling on.
Bye, you beautiful humans.
Bye, Spencer.
Goodbye. I will see you on the other side.
Take me through to the other. Oh, wait.
I'm not saying it was aliens.
Alien. Geo's an alien.
What?